Hello everybody, Dylan here. Now, last week we talked about some of the places Chris Chan went to try to find his sweetheart. And the weeks before that we talked about some of the places Chris Chan went to try and make money. This week we're going to be talking about some of the trolls. Now, I'm not going to go over the whole trolling sagas, I'm just going to talk about the individuals. Today we are going to be talking about Blanca Weiss. Now, Blanca Weiss was one of Chris's fake girlfriends online, and she was probably one of the first major ones to exist. Here's some quotes right here. Blanca is real. I talked to her. Yeah, she called me. So, as for the person who, as for the jerk who, posed with a kawaii kitsune name, if I knew who you were, I'd give you a kick in the balls. Message directly from Chris. And then here's another quote. Rest assured, she, Blanca, is not a troll, so nobody say otherwise. I have talked to her on webcam and video and, audio, and have heard her voice over her microphone. I love this redundant sentencing to my speakers and have, god damn it, Chris, you just had to go further. But, that one's special because it was posted on my birthday. That was October 9th, 2008. I'm pretty sure I had a shit birthday that year. Blanca Weiss, aka Amy B. Chan or Kawaii Kitsune 123, was the identity assumed by various trolls who posed as Chris's sweetheart in order to get one thing, the Sonichu medallion. Now, the reason why people wanted the Sonichu medallion so bad is because Chris really said that it was important. Chris in the comic book said that it was part of an ancient prophecy and it gave him superpowers. Chris in real life said no one was going to get it ever, and the trolls took that as a challenge. So this was like the first attempt to get it, and it actually did end up succeeding later, and I'll show that video after I end this all. The group pulling the strings was a trio of YouTube trolls, two of them going by the handles Ricky Ricardo 123 and Nurse Icky-chan, talked to Chris via IM and telephone. I am goddamn so old. Respectively, the third, Icarus 69, received a package containing the medallion as well as an enclosed love letter, and upload the video of himself cutting it up and putting it into a pickle jar before setting it on fire. Cutting up and putting into a pickle jar is not scriptive enough. He made it blow a pickle. He cut a mouth into it and then made it give a pickle a blowjob. Some argued that aside from the medallion destruction, the team behind the real Blanca, as opposed to Lord Silly Nipples, who impersonated her, the original group had created the identity, did nothing except keep Chris to themselves. That is true. They would really focus on having Chris to their own group, and when the fake Blanca showed up, they felt really offended by it. They're trolls who want lolcows to themselves. Unlike most usual trolls who are willing to share retards with the internet and everyone, these guys wanted Chris all to themselves. They wanted their operations to be the only ones. They wanted to be known for what they were doing. It's really fucking dumb, but that's just how they were. Telling Chris to not make videos, stopping him from releasing content, etc. Despite many people telling him Blanca was not real, and even after the medallion was destroyed on film, Chris still continued to believe she was real because she started talking to him in calls, and then he's like, well, she has a female voice and she can call me, so she has to be real. There can't be a female troll. He stated in the Kristen Weston Chandler interview that people reasonable for destroying the medallion simply lived near Blanca and intercepted in the mail. Yes, you sent it to Blanca and somehow the trolls found out and stole it from her rather than her being a troll. Brilliant, Chris, using that big brain of yours. Since the destruction of the medallions, the three trolls have largely faded into obscurity. Yes, they have. Blanca has faded into obscurity. It's really sad. The name Blanca Weiss is just a feminine version of the Spanish word for white, which is Blanca, and the German word for white, which is Weiss. And that's a weird S. German, what the fuck is going on with you? Like, what the fuck is going on with the German language? That doesn't even look like a letter. Blanca Weiss is literally just white female Oh, that's pretty hilarious. Her name is literally just white female. That's fucking hilarious. Chris' personal preference in sweethearts, yes. And Chris said that he knew Spanish and he couldn't figure that one out. So, yet again, Chris showing his superior intellect. FCTC. The trio were good friends and several members of the Fried Chicken Trolling Crew. That is the gayest name for a trolling op I've ever heard of, but let's read into this. A now defunct trolling group known for trolling various individuals and groups on YouTube. Really? They actually trolled other people? I didn't know that. Some photos were shown to the FCTC, who, I'm just going to call them Fried Chicken, I'm not using that abbreviation, who later posted the images onto Encyclopedia Dramatica after posting the group's watermark on them. Oh, it's so fucking gay. That shit still happens today, where like some fucking idiot will be doing something, they'll slap a giant watermark on it saying, yeah, this is my shit. I just don't like trolls like that. Fucking do it for the laugh of it. Don't do it for the recognition. It's fucking gay. It's really fucking gay when you just start... You just start slapping your name onto it and you're like, you better give me credit for my trolling. It's just so fucking dumb. And here's a quote from one of them. There was internal bullshit with the Chris Chan thing. Ricky, Blanca, and myself were pissed about the watermarks and the fact that everything was released before the troll was done yet. Oh, so Icarus said that he didn't agree with the watermarks. I don't know whether to believe him or not. The group itself later fell out due to internal conflict. It was shortly revived as Cool Troll Fighting Crew. I 100% believe that watermark was their idea. After reuniting, you just fucking renamed it to something even gayer than the first name. But this group was later disbanded. It should be. You're about as stupid as Chris coming up with names like that. As for Icarus, 69 himself, he went on to temporarily become an admin on the CWC, but after the controversy, this relationship broke off as well. So it seems like Icarus was a fucking liar who couldn't do anything correct. He still predictably attempts to revive or kill CWC trolling, and to this day still has Chris's medallions, one of which he offered to the former ED owner, Girl Vinyl, on the site's 5-year anniversary. That's so fucking lame. Why would he want it? Why would he/she want it? Like, not everyone cares about Chris. Chris gets a clue. On April 2010, Chris published a page on the Wikipedia with a list of many women he had known in his life. Blanca was conspicuously absent from the list, but he did mention her briefly in the entry on Sarah Jackson. Of all the sweethearts he had met online, Blanca and Sydney were apparently the only ones Chris had been able to successfully identify as trolls, more or less on his own. It should be noted, though, that while Chris might have figured out that Blanca was a troll, he still failed to realize that she wasn't a real person. In December 2009, Chris uploaded a correction of his ED page, and he wrote, he had dumped Blanca's sorry ass after that misdeed. I had trusted her, so he still thought that she was a real woman, which he's not entirely wrong because one of the trolls was a woman. But I guess before I end this off, I'll show you some of these photos and then I'll play the video that happened to his medallions. So these are some of the photos that he believed was Blanca. This blonde woman here, which is Blanca Fake 01 JPEG, brilliant naming. This other blonde woman, that does kind of look like the same blonde woman. I actually know a girl that looks like that. And then you get this Asian looking woman. This Asian looking woman right here, she doesn't even look white. She has fucking black hair. Why would you think that's the same woman? And then yet again, another Asian looking woman. Why did Chris think that this was the same woman as the blonde woman? I have no fucking clue, but he thought this was Blanca at one point, and that's actually the Blanca that appeared in the comics, the fucking Asian. And she has blue eyes, despite the Asian woman having black eyes. Yeah, Blanca did get to be in the comics. She got to be in the Spring Break issue with her character Jigglyami. I love how Chris draws heels right here. Today we are talking about yet again another Chris Chan troll. This is one of the more important trolls throughout all of the trolling sagas. This is Clyde Cash. Now, if you've been following Chris for a while, you probably don't even need to know who Clyde Cash is, but for the guys who are just getting into Chris Chan, this one's pretty important. We'll start with this little quote. "Your butt's gonna be in trouble. Barbara Chandler to Clyde Cash." And then we have another quote. "Gone strong that Clyde Cash." That's Chris to Clyde. I remember which video that was. That was Chris, I think that was Chris assaulting the clown doll, if I'm not mistaken. Clyde Cash, alias Greg Mays. That's Greg with 3 G's, by the way. 4th of July, 1976, is the leader of the Miscreants, which is a bad Metal Gear reference, and is often considered to be Chris's arch enemy, if you know about Chris Chan stuff. Out of all of the Chris Chan trolls, Clyde Cash remains quite possibly the most popular and notorious. In Chris's revised Encyclopedia Dramatica page, Clyde is referred to as the Starscream troll. Why? This is a reference to Transformers character named Starscream. Yeah, but why call him that? If he's like the head troll, why wouldn't you call him Megatron? I don't get that. Who would often switch sides or plot to overthrow Megatron behind his back. Chris says that he believes Clyde Cash allegedly killed Blue Spike. That's because Clyde said he killed Blue Spike. But if Clyde's the one in charge of everything, why would he be Starscream? That makes no sense. It would be Megatron, but whatever. Ironically, despite Chris's constant demonizing of him, Clyde has warned him about several things that would later return to bite him in the ass. Yes, he did. Clyde actually did try to help Chris, and he told Blue Spike he was going too far with his trolling. Clyde isn't actually that bad of a guy, the Clyde that we heard in the recordings anyway. Such as his unwillingness to work, his spending habits, and poor treatment of women. This was years ago, and he was talking about the spending habits, and now Chris is like thousands upon thousands of dollars in debt. If he would have took Clyde's advice, maybe he could have avoided all of that. Even predicted Chris's innate desire to dress like a woman. Yes, Clyde actually knew quite a bit about Chris. He got up in Chris's head. This is the pic that Clyde gave for a photo of him. That's not him, that's a Guido. So just know that's not actually a picture of Clyde's face. So name, Clyde Cash, also known as Greg Mays. Date of birth, we already read that. Gender male, nationality American, okay. Race white, spouse Panda Halo, which is another Chris Chan troll. Children Penny Cash, siblings Ryan Cash, which I think that's the guy who killed himself, I'm pretty sure. Relatives, Vivian G, cousin. So they made up this guy, and he has a lot of the other trolls related to him. Origins. Pro tip, Clyde Cash is a fake identity taken on by a bunch of trolls. The quickie treats it as if he was real because he was the Chris. It's also funnier that way. If you didn't know that without having been told, you're more autistic than Chris. I did know about that. A lot of these trolls are several people taking on one identity. That's just how trolling works. For the longest time, Clyde had no problems with Chris, although he disapproved of some of his content. He was pleased to see the joy the franchise had brought to his brother Ryan. And just know, this is the backstory for the character. It's not the backstory for any real person. Every night before bed, Clyde would read Ryan the latest issue of Sonichu Adventure until Ryan had dozed off to sleep, usually within the first 3 pages. That's about how long it takes for me to fall asleep reading Sonichu. This changed when Chris announced that his usual knee-jerk fashion that he was going to stop drawing Sonichu comics. Clyde tried confronting the upset Ryan to no avail. One night in mid-December 2008, Clyde entered Ryan's bedroom intending to share a tray of freshly baked gingerbread men, because of course so wholesome, only to find his lifeless form of his brother swinging from the light fixture. He hung himself. The dark silhouette of his body threw ghostly shadows across the room. On the desk, Clyde found a note Apparently, the pain of not knowing whether Crystal would be released from the Dark Mirror was too much for the young Ryan to bear. Clyde screamed, but no sounds would come out. Collapsing to the floor, he swore undying revenge on Christian Weston Chandler. The torment begins. Clyde's first act was to rape Chris's sweetheart, Panda Halo, but it did absolutely nothing to Chris, as he simply moved on to the next gal pal. If Panda Halo was a real person and Chris had actually been talking to her, I'm sure it would have turned out the same way. But yet you get a bunch of white knights in the chat going, "Oh my god, Christian isn't that bad of a guy." If your girlfriend got raped by someone and then decided to live with them out of Stockholm Syndrome, would you just give up? Do you just give up on them? That's... God, people just don't understand how Chris works in the head. If only they knew the type of person Chris could be if he had the ability to be that person. Chris believes that Clyde married Panda Halo and had one sent daughter named Penny. Then Clyde posed as Greg Mays, a web designer working for Nintendo, to gain access to Sonichu.net, holding the site for ransom. He told Chris to make a video proclaiming that he was gay. And then Chris was, he made a video and he said he was a Gabian, and Clyde's like, "What the fuck is a Gabian?" And he's like, he's a gay lesbian, he's a Gabian, which is kind of the first hints that Chris Chan would go on to call himself a lesbian rather than admit that he's gay. It was kind of showing all the way back then. That was like over a decade ago, and Chris was already showing that he'd rather call himself a lesbian or a trans person than admit that he's gay or a cross-dresser. He then told him he'd make a video declaring his straightness. Eventually, Chris regained access to the site. Striking again, Clyde worked with a troll and got rid of the domain. Chris, being the resilient hero, bought Sonichu.info. With the help of Panda Halo, Clyde managed to gain access again, because of course he did. Chris is that fucking helpless. It was around that time that Takashi Tezuka, yes, and Jay-Z were doing their Animal Crossing game project. Clyde then decided to make things more interesting by posing as Shigeru Miyamoto, yes, that's Shigeru Miyamoto, to destroy any chance of the project, teaming up with Julie to set up a mumble chat in which Chris could communicate with the true and honest Sonichu fans. Clyde stalked Julie with infiltrating these chats to confront Chris, and Clyde would act like he knew Julie. Yeah, it was really gay. I don't like the Clyde and Julie shit. It's not funny. It's just weird. That's just me though. Maybe I'm just not into the Clyde and Julie shit. Maybe it's because I have the hindsight of knowing that Julie is like a 13-year-old boy that I don't find it funny. But to each their own. He began throwing demands to Chris as to clean his room, learning from Jordan Peterson, I see, before Jordan Peterson was even telling people to do that. Chris, at the same time, also bought Sonichu and Rosachu.com. Clyde got access yet again because of course he did, this time with the help of Julie. In the end, it was revealed that Julie was a 13-year-old boy, and that Clyde had staged the whole thing. Yeah, but he couldn't even keep the 13-year-old boy in check. Fucking Blue Spike started disobeying him and started doing things that he didn't want him to do. But Clyde did stand up to Blue Spike and told him to stop. But well after Chris had shoved a whole medallion up his ass. After that, he sent out his trusted Hebrew friend to scout out at Chris's whereabouts. The MIPS turned it's Robert Simmons the Fifth, I want to do a video on him too, into a troll and infiltrate Wesley Memorial United Baptist Church. That's a long fucking title. He then stole Chris's one and only date, Emily. When Ivy came along, he decided to continually harass her, and despite Chris making a few threats, Ivy eventually gave in, and rumors circulated about her killing herself. And that's why Ivy killed herself in the comics, well, offhandedly. Oh, and Clyde also hacked into the PSN a few times, but then Jack Thaddeus did one better. And to think all this was done to Chris not caring about the fan's tragic suicide, that being his brother. On 22nd of May 2009, the death of Clyde Cash by a shotgun wound to the head was reported to the miscreants. The incident was deemed a suicide, although some suspected foul play. So Clyde was dead at that point. In the comic, this is Clyde. He was a character in Sonichu. He was bald and he was broke because Clyde Cash, and Chris thought it'd be funny if he was bald and broke. Ha 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 ha. In the comic, Clyde is a villain working for Mary Lee Walsh. Apart from capturing Ivy, getting into a fight with Chris, he initially only appeared on the CWC music video Holding Out for a Hero, officially Sonichu Special number 1. Not much is known about Clyde other than he lives in a mansion and owns his own pickle gun and slander ray. So it's a pickle gun and a slander ray? That's too OP. He needs to be nerfed. He made his first appearance in the comic proper in Sonichu 10, which was the last issue of the original run of Sonichu. As 4centgarbage.com building is collapsing. Basically, in the comics, Chris wanted to kill off all the trolls. So for some of the trolls, he fucking staged his own 9/11 and blew up the 4centgarbage.com building with the trolls in it. And it was collapsing. And Clyde and Jack decided that they were gay. And they decided to embrace each other as the buildings collapsed and he died. So that's how he died in the comics. I don't think that's retconned either. He condemns Clyde and Jack for being homo trolls. When Beale escapes, he condemns the two for their actions, saying that being homo trolls are slandering and whatever. That's an artist's depiction of Jack and Clyde's final moments. Currently, after Clyde faked his death for reasons unknown, he came back with a vengeance. Chris wasn't very pleased. In 2009, when not baiting Liquid Chris for Hand of Casey, Chris spent his time trying to convince Clyde Cash, alias Greg Mays, or Greg Mays, alias Clyde Cash, depending on which name he remembers first, to face him in one-on-one battle. Chris recorded several feats of strength, though combination of Casey trying to get him into shape, and a desire to frighten Clyde Cash with his bulging muscles. Too bad Chris doesn't have any muscles. Chris had also a picture to blackmail Clyde, but ultimately nothing came from it other than a series of videos where Chris tries to torture Clyde. Clyde scoffed at the final video, however, because of the negative reaction to Sonichu Special number 4. Chris in the Wikipedia mailbag made clear that he would sit and talk with Clyde to try to get him to stop harassing him. Eventually, Chris decided to revisit his old nemesis in 2010, believing he was the reason why he lost the heart of the Wallflower, which is another person I want to talk about later. In it, he's shown fighting Clyde, then pulling a knife and slitting Clyde's throat. What the fuck? As a warning to all the trolls. In another well-thought counter-trolling plan, Chris unsuccessfully attempted to scam Clyde into paying him $9,001 for destroying his own PS3. This almost fail-proof scheme was, however, foiled thanks to Sir Shaftito's vigilance. I want to talk about him too. He's pretty funny. In 2014, Chris drew art of him and Clyde making peace as some part of a commission. Notably, Chris completely screwed up Clyde's height, making him look much shorter than what he really is. And this is the photo of Chris and Clyde making peace with each other. Now, if I see some videos of Clyde that I want to play, I'll play them right here. That's it. That's all I wanted to talk about for Clyde Cash.
Fight!
Fair. Okay? Look, I'm trying to get my website back up. I'm just having troubles between the fact that my account was deactivated for a time, then I'm waiting for it to be reactivated from the people at Yahoo. I talked to them on the phone, so I know all about this, so what do you want, Clyde?
I'm trying to tell you that the people at Virginia Mental Health, they've been trying to take you away.
Well, I got news for you. My family is going to defend me, and I am not going to go into any institution. So you could just
But-
back off.
No, I'm trying to warn you. Look on your latest video. You're talking about being a fictional mayor of a fictional town known as Quickville. This is why they're after you.
Well, if they dare to come after me, they'll come after me in person. And until then, I'm not gonna fret about it. Look, let me do this work, and I'll come on to Mumbo another time. So, unless Clyde had something else he wanted to say as another reason why he dragged me away from my work.
What work? Christ, man.
I'm trying to get the website back up.
That's not work. Nobody cares about your goddamn website, okay? Why don't you go back outside to the real world? That's what I've been trying to do.
Well, I'm
When's
gonna
the
be
last
going.
time you went outside?
Well, I got news for you, Clyde. I'm going to be going back out there and actually find myself a woman locally after I get over this virus.
Face it, Chris, you're never going to find that woman.
Now, today we're going to be doing yet again another quickie reading. This quickie reading is going to be going over yet again another Chris Chan Trolls as part of the Chris Chan Trolling series. Today we're going to be talking about the infamous Jack Thaddeus. We start this off with a quote from Chris Chan saying, "Jack Thaddeus, give me back my PlayStation Network account, you expert hacker. You irrational expert motherfucking burn in hell hacker." That was Chris to Jack. Jack Thaddeus, born 12th of August 1985, is a troll responsible for various PSN-related trollings with Chris. He is also a true and honest homo. In August of 2011, Chris supposedly outed him as being none other than the famous internet lolcow ARH. I can't fucking say that name. I tried to read it so many times, I give up. You can see the name on the screen. You can make fun of me for not being able to read it. I am not going to fuck up reading that name over and over again. Get a name that actually makes fucking sense. A noted cosplayer, Jew, communist, and Aspergian. I'm just gonna call him Asperger whenever his name pops up because I don't want to fucking read that. PSN hacks. Jack had a sweeping victory in the seizure of multiple of Chris's PSN accounts, using them to blackmail Chris into dry humping his PS3 and singing "Okay to be Gay." This is yet again another reason why I think that the recent Chris humping his pillow singing All-Star was troll influence, because Chris has done this before. So if it turns out that Chris didn't actually do that sincerely, just know I called it. Unimpressed by Chris's performance, he deleted them for the good of mankind, but not before they were archived. Jack worked with his daughter, Samantha Thaddeus, in order to break into Chandler's PSN accounts and possibly bring about the beginning of the Liquid Chris saga. Wikipedia advertisements. Now, just so you know, the Wikipedia was Chris's website documenting his life, not this website that I'm reading. There's a difference between the Wikipedia and the Quickie. In November of 2009, Jack purchased advertising space on the Wikipedia. One banner linked to a gay rights website, noting that the creator and the hero of Family Guy both supported gay rights. And we can see that on the side where it says Peter Griffin and Seth MacFarlane support gay rights, shouldn't you? Don't be naive. Click here to get all the facts. And using the hated word naive. Chris said that naive is worse than being called retarded. He really doesn't like being called naive. I doubt that he still holds this to this day, but that's what he was saying over a decade ago. While another advertisement showed Mexican vacations using an anthropomorphic cactus mascot. I guess that's a cactus. Kind of looks like a pickle to me, but I guess that's what they were going for. Chris wasn't seized by the desecration of his wiki and demanded that the ads be removed. Upon being told that Thaddeus was responsible, Chris declared, "I will deal with him myself." Whatever measures he took, though, they didn't do much because the original ads would soon be joined by many new banners, featuring pickles, homos, and other things Chris hates and fears. These ads would have stayed for a long time since Jack was a gentle and generous soul. Jack eventually leased some ad space to Mawood, the webmaster of the Asperpedia. On the 25th of February 2010, this lease apparently concluded and Jack filled the website with dicks. Eventually, on the 18th of March 2010, Jack pulled his funding from the site, forcing the sysop to take down the site, and it came back up the next day under the rule of Maui, I don't fucking know. In the comics, Jack made his first appearance in Sonic True 10 along with Clyde Cash, who I talked about last time, and they were both in the 4 Cent building. It collapsed. They made love with each other as they died. Called out. On the 16th of August 2011, Chris claimed to have the docs of Jack and that his real name was the Asperger guy, that he lived in Pennsylvania, and that Jack was planning to have gender reassignment surgery, which he did in June of 2018. He demanded a video of apology from Jack/Asperger by the 10th of September 2011. The Asperger guy Chris is referring to is none other than Asperger, whatever his name is, because I don't care. A lolcow that has almost as big of a reputation as Chris himself. I don't know him and I don't care about him. This information was unsurprisingly fabricated, as for one, Jack and Asperger's voices only have a slight similarity to them. Regardless, Asperger and Chris, despite the animosity between the two, share many of the same traits and characteristics. A week later, he revealed that Jack was a communist into BDSM. It was at this point that Asperger had to respond, denouncing all the fake information Chris presented alongside with his own lolcowness. Chris still firmly believes the rumors and made another video with his usual homophobia. And yeah, that's funny that Chris became the troll, calling out this guy, and this guy was very similar to Chris Chan and did very similar things to Chris Chan, including becoming a tranny. So it's funny, it's almost like he's the Bizarro World Chris Chan. You can even see these two photos comparing them. I don't care about his name, and I don't think I'll ever talk about him because he's not my shtick. My niche is Sonic lolcows, and he's not a Sonic lolcow, as you can tell by his Naruto headband.
Fight!
Mark, I'm just replying to.
No, shut up. I'm pissed at you.
You know okay. Is it because I haven't picked up?
No. Well, yes. That's actually. You get a point. Okay. You get a gold star, just like you would if you were in a retard class, which you probably were in because, well, you're Chris. Anyways. So yeah. Apparently, you're all butthurt about people calling you, saying that you have Asperger's, which is pretty funny considering that, you know, it pisses you off.
Whatever.
So. What?
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 I'm like, whatever.
What? Oh, it's no, it's cute. It's cute. You think that Asperger's, people with Asperger's are trying to take the quote unquote limelight away from you people with autism. What? How? Why is that? That's like saying that people with cancer are trying to take the limelight away from people with AIDS. Although you'd probably like that, considering you hate the hell mouse.
Why they?
You know, a friend of mine has AIDS. He's gay.
No, that's for him, and he has my sympathy. He has my pity.
But he's gay, Chris.
I know. I assumed that because you said he had.
Oh,
gay.
you assumed
he had AIDS.
You assume that everybody that has AIDS is gay. Wow, Chris. Wow, that's way to fucking, you know, fall into the fucking pit of stupid. You know, a lot of people have AIDS, not just gay people. Actually, more straight people have AIDS than gay people. But anyways, I'm pissed at you for multiple reasons. First of all, the comic sucks. Second of all, the video you did sucks. You know, Vivian's been yelling at me saying that I'm interfering. I didn't do shit. Okay? So, you know, that bitch is crazy. So, you know. Also, you didn't fucking answer my letter that I sent to you.
Well, I haven't found your letter.
I
checked
told
in the
you.
mailbag and
You put it in the rejected, you dumb shit. Because,
I wasn't the rejected bag.
Okay.
I did not find anything from Jack from you.
I told you it was in the name David Crass. You really think I'm stupid enough to put my name as Jack Thaddeus?
Oh wait, okay, I just found it.
Now
okay,
read it
I
out
just
to me.
found it.
Read it out to me.
Okay, dear Chris, why is Rose Chew so useless?
Now answer it. Why is she so useless?
Well, she is not useless.
Okay, so what did she do in the last comic? In this comic right here?
She took down some punish slabs and some jerk cops.
Everybody else was doing
blade.
that. For lightning. No, and then she got kidnapped. How is it that she's able to apparently fight these people, and then suddenly get kidnapped.
It just happened. It happened from behind her.
It
She
just
does not have
happened.
eyes in the back of her
Oh,
head.
she got taken from behind. I see. That's also Punislavs. That's kind of Slavs. You know that Slavs are an ethnic group. That's kind of.
Well,
I'm just saying,
would you
Chris.
rather call it a slave?
Yes, that might be nice. That might be nice. What, you think that all black that slave has suddenly become a bad word? It makes more sense, Chris, if they're fucking. God damn it! You know what? You should be talking to Vivian about this shit. Cause I'm just saying. I mean, but anyways, why is Rosa Chu not a useless piece of shit? And also, why is your plot so fucking convoluted and unnecessarily complicated? You make characters, and then you retcon them into the fucking story, and then they disappear. They play no role.
They do play a role. They helped in defending the city of Quickville.
That's not a fucking... Okay, you seem to have a problem with storytelling. Quickville, the defense of Quickville doesn't mean shit if there's no story, and you need certain main characters. A bunch of fucking secondary characters don't do shit.
Well, Sancho is the main. Sancho and Rochu are the main characters.
Then why you have so many fucking other characters? The only character I like is Punchy Sancho, and that's because he reminds me of Clyde. What?
Nothing. Anyway.
People told you that picture of that Guido wasn't Clyde, but you didn't listen. Remember back then?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just that was actually fucking comedy gold, man. I'm proud of you for not listening to, advice of other people and, just being the dumb shit that you are and just making that video of you having a picture of a Guido from the Jersey Shore. Oh, you're a funny guy, Chris. You can, I'm not hanging up. We're having our talk right now, Chris. So don't fucking try and rush me, okay?
All right.
Because I can hear you, fucking shifting around and, going, like you're fucking getting tortured, okay? So don't get antsy with me.
I'm not making any noises.
I hear you. I hear you, Chris.
You're listening to a radio in the background.
Why? Who the fuck still listens to radio? I mean, I listen to NPR, but, otherwise, who the fuck cares?
No, that's John Tesh.
Who the fuck is John Tesh? Sounds like a fag. Anyways. Oh, you fucker. Anyways, God. Parkour. You seem to really not understand parkour. You really don't seem to understand. You know what? Yeah, I don't. Why don't you explain stuff to me, Chris? I'd like to know what you think would be passing as parkour.
I did not understand the question.
That was actually pretty funny. What is parkour?
Parkour, to my interpretation, being the style of running from one point to another, yes, with jumps, and along the walls and other things.
You interpreted it wrong. You got when you had the jumping on walls and shit. But then again, what you said you were doing was parquet, which parquet is a brand of butter.
Today we are going to be doing another quickie reading, and we are going to be talking about yet again another troll. So if your friends are curious about the whole Chris Chan shit and they want to know about the trolls behind it, recommend them to this series because I will be discussing all of the popular Chris Chan trolls. And today we are talking about the main troll according to Chris, Jason Kendrick Howell. Now, Chris considered him the main troll at one point, but personally I don't take Chris's opinions too seriously. Chris also thought that the guy who owned the game place was the main troll, and that Megan could be one of the main trolls. I don't trust Chris's opinions on things. In my opinion, Clyde Cash is still the main troll. He actually organized the gay ops behind trolling Chris. He was actually around for more years than Jason Kinder-Cowl and achieved more than Jason Kinder-Cowl. The reason why Chris remembers Jason is because Jason made his ED page. That's it. So there's not actually a lot to talk about, but I'll try and make it entertaining regardless. We get a quote from Chris Chan here. It says, "I pray to God and Jesus to kill Jason Kinder-Cowl." Chris Chan telling his Lord and Savior to kill someone, yet again showing Chris's kindness and his understanding for humanity. He definitely doesn't hate people. He's definitely not a bitter person who would destroy people if he had the ability to do it. He's a really nice person, I swear. But this is Chris yet again referring to God and Jesus as two separate people rather than one and the same, because Chris doesn't understand how Christianity works despite being Christian. Jason Kinder-Cowl is the original creator of the Chris Chan ED page. Chris wanted to call the jerk-offs on Hal for allegedly having sex with an underage girl, Kathleen. Spoiler, Hal never did have the underage sex. Hal goes by Liquid Snake on 4chan's V. According to Chris, is also the dork of ages, a phrase stolen from American Dad. Of course, Chris, ripping off American Dad and Family Guy. This is Jason as he appears in the comics. He looks like Emperor Palpatine, except for he's got one eyeball, and that's his sex slave, who also appeared in the comics label as a sex slave, despite Chris saying the comics was made for children. In real life, after Chris discovered the ED page had some email correspondence with Jason, from which Chris got Jason's phone number, Chris later used the phone number to find which city Jason lived in, as well as tracing down his MySpace. I'm shocked Chris was able to do that on his own, where he found Kathleen. By looking at Jason's friend list, Chris made the assumption that Kathleen was Jason's girlfriend, because of course that's how girlfriends work. If you're friends with any girl, that's your girlfriend now. That's how Chris sees it. And Jason has lots of sex with her, which combined with Kathleen's status of being a 17-year-old, led Chris to the accusation of Jason having underage sex. So Chris goes on someone's MySpace page, sees that they're friends with an underage girl, and then immediately jumps to pedo accusations. Yet everyone's willing to defend Chris Chan. Everyone's willing to give Chris Chan benefit of the doubt, but Chris would never give you that benefit of the doubt. If Chris Chan hates you, he will do anything to destroy you. But people can keep white knighting him if they want to. Chris also took note of the background image on Jason's MySpace page, and based on Jason's appearance in the comic upon that picture. This is the picture, by the way, is Jason wearing an eye patch in real life, because of course a lot of Chris Chan trolls do take influence from Metal Gear. But then again, a lot of Darkside Phil trolls also take influence from Metal Gear. I don't know what's up with Metal Gear and trolling, but a lot of trolls do that. I guess it explains the ridiculous troll ops that happen. They want to try to imitate some ridiculous shit seen in a video game. After Jason's inclusion in the comic, Chris exchanged some more emails with him, but it soon came to a hold. About a year later, Chris's Sonichu site was hacked by Clyde Cash. Assuming that it was Jason behind the deed, responded by calling him and making the infamous "I'll break you dead" threat. If I can find the video associated with that, I'll play it at the end. And Jason eventually joined forces with Vivian G, recording his own voice for the audiobooks, which if those still exist, you should check them out, the Sonichu audiobooks. He also provided commentary for the official audiobooks, though he didn't so much as comment on the video books so much as he just rambled on about Chris Chan's history with 4chan and ED. In Sonichu, Jason appears in Sonichu 8 in the episode Rage Against the Garbage, which is where Rosachu fucking strips down and beats the shit out of him. As the episode's primary antagonist, he appears reside Forsen Garbage Building, which is the one that collapses and he escapes from before it does. The 72nd floor, because 72 is whatever, fucking 666, evil, blah blah blah. Chris is very generic with his writing. Because he's evil, even though the actual number of the beast is 616. Chris doesn't know anything about the Bible at all. Jason wears a cloak for most of the time. The eye patch, headband, and hair color sparks some curiosity and confusion amongst the trolls, considering that it is almost a blatant reference to Big Boss from the Metal Gear series. Some were worried that Chris has actually played Metal Gear Solid, and was ripping it off. However, it was revealed later by Jason himself that he actually sent Chris a photograph of himself wearing an eye patch. Jason also tried to send Chris the first disc of Metal Gear Solid 3, but due to Chris's male paranoia at the time, it was returned to sender. Very tragic. Sonichu and Rosachu confront Jason and Kathleen over the images featured on the website. Rosachu's true and honest genitalia. After refusing to take it down, following Sonichu's shitty and meaningless speech, Sonichu attempts to fight Jason, only to have his furry ass kicked by Jason's dark force powers. Rosachu, as the Incredible Lioness, then face rapes him, and nearly to death, she hops on his face with her thighs and beat him almost to death. A move stolen from Keko Kamen. I don't fucking know what the fuck that is. But the dark forces kept him alive. Later on in Sonichu 10, Jason is seen with Jack, Thaddeus, and Beale. The building starts to fall apart, and then he runs away, because of course he did. So technically he's still alive in the Sonichu universe. When the building starts to fall down, he calls them gay wads and flies off with Kathleen at his side to his 2-story house in the suburbs. What a very mediocre end to him. In the video released on the 30th of October 2010, Chris presents a revised version ending of Sonichu 10, which he reveals the couple broke up when Kathleen cheated on him with their secretary, of course, and she later went on to maximum security prison for smoking pot. Really? Oh yeah, I forgot. Smoking pot and tobacco is one of the biggest crimes in Chris Chan's world. It will get you sent to prison, where she shares a cell with Mary Lee Walsh. Jason supposedly dies off-screen in a car crash. Of course it's a fucking car crash. Chris, what the fuck is up with you and the car crashes?
Attention, all Sonichu fans on the internet who do not hate me, Christian Weston Chandler. For I have an important message for y'all. If y'all would actually like me to bring up new stuff for Sonichu and conclude the stories, you can do so by having that Encyclopedia Dramatica page taken down so that I can feel more comfortable in drawing and coloring the comics that y'all have grown to love. Not counting those who are giving me all the hate. But on that note, I have the bigger update. If you want to send all your complaints for me not doing the work that I should be doing, you can send every last complaint to the one called Jason Kendrick Howe, also known as Howe Games or Liquid Snake. For he is, and I quote, in an email he sent me, the creator of the Encyclopedia Dramatica ED page for me. And he states further, my, you seem rather angry about it in your last YouTube video. A few months ago, you asked me why I made the page for you. My reason? You were too damn funny to ignore. Also, the page will not be brought down. Toodles. He is a dork of ages. Y'all should be sending every last complaint and hater toward rain out upon him. Send him every last email you can. Shower him with as much hate as possible until that Encyclopedia Dramatica page is taken down along with him. And again, the email address. Send all your hatred to him. Every last ounce. Because he is the man to complain to, for he is the one who created that dang page. And that's for you, Jason Kendrick Howe. As sure as I am to get at least 1 ounce of vagina, I have your number, and you're going down.
First saved message. Jason Kendrick Howe, you bastard! Bastard! You hacked into everything! You have driven me so beyond the wall I can't even describe it! You love me now, but I pray you dead! Goodbye!
Today we are going to be reading yet again another quickie article, and this is going to be yet again another part of the Trolls series of videos. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite trolls, Jimmy Hill. I like Jimmy Hill just because of how random the shit involving him is. We've got a quote from Chris: Jimmy Hill is a thief, an imposter. Do not buy his imposter Sonichu crap. Jimmy Hill, 22nd of July, 1928 to December 19th, 2015, so I guess he's dead now, was a British soccer presentator known for hosting BBC series March of the Day from 1973 to 1988. An unknown person uses alias of Jimmy to troll Chris, claiming to be the one true creator of Sonichu and Rosachu, selling counterfeit Sonichu merchandise and aiming to launch his own comic in Europe around September of 2008. Jimmy Hill's work. Jimmy Hill's variation of Sonichu was a homo, with Blake his boyfriend and Rosachu his gal pal, using Chris's lingos. He revised Mary Lee Walsh as the mother and Jimmy Hill as the father. What the fuck? And battled Chris Chan's giant jerk bot. Hill also sold official merchandise, including a muscle brawl suitable for geriatric females and overweight men who are uncertain about their sexuality, that being Chris. And this is an image from the popular Sonichu anime, which was being shown in Europe for sure. Oh no, Chris Chu's giant jerkbot is heading straight for the city, and you can see Sonichu with his arms flailing, showing that he is a homo. And then here's another scene. Sonichu, as your true original creator, I command you to zap that wanker. I fucking love how much effort was put into this. Sure thing, daddy. We can see Sonichu doing extremely homoerotic poses, and he has a fucking earring showing that he's gay. He has bondage gear on like Mr. Slave from South Park. And then here's the giant robot they fought. Thank God that penis is censored. This is one of the ads that actually started off the Jimmy Hill saga. It's a photoshopped picture of Sonic. It's one of the Sonic Adventure toys, and you can even still see the blue around the trim because they don't know how to use Photoshop correctly. You can actually still see the original colors underneath. But yeah, Chris thought that this was real. Here's the page showing the ad in a comic book. You can tell that's Photoshop too, seeing how that resolution is higher than the actual photo's resolution, and it doesn't even blend well. But they tricked Chris all right. And then this was made. You can see that the text here is smaller and blurrier. Meanwhile, the text here that they obviously edited is larger. Chris fell for that. And then what is this page? Yet again, more of Chris Chan's shit. God damn it, Chris, you're so dumb. This is boxes of Jimmy Hill's Chris Chan DVD. I might play that one day if I ever feel like killing myself. He took Chris's Yep on One TV DVD and then resold it, and he dubbed over it. So that's pretty funny, actually. This is the box for the Jimmy Hill Sonichu video game. Some great shit there. And Chris responds. In September of 2008, Chris first responded to the unauthorized merch sales. I'll be playing that video if I can find it. Next month, Chris raged more openly against Jimmy Hill, pointing out that Hill's artwork was an obvious ripoff of his, and ignoring that he is not one to talk about regarding ripoffs. He and Panda Halo planned to sue Jimmy, and when she said, "I hope somebody cuts off his penis in IRC," Chris made his famous statement, "I hope he loses his duck." Chris didn't want to say dick, so he said duck. His fans at ED left a sign reading Encyclopedia Dramatica, Heart Jimmy Hill, on Chris's lawn, and Jimmy Hill would be kind of like a little precursor to Liquid Chris, because Jimmy Hill said that he was the real creator of Sonichu, and then Liquid Chris would also do the same thing. So some of the trolling events are very similar, and that's just what happens with Chris Chan trolling. People rip each other off quite a bit, which is yet again why I say that some of the modern stuff that Chris Chan is doing is signs that he's being trolled again, and that it's not actual things that he's doing on his own. Like, I don't think Chris is actually doing this shit because he wants to. I think someone's getting him to do this wacky shit he's been doing recently. They put that sign on Chris's lawn Halloween 2008. A year later, he tore up the sign on YouTube. It took him a year to tear up the sign. During the Miyamoto saga, Chris grandiosely stated, "I declare another step forward in the Sonichu game project and the downfall of that imposter, Jimmy Hill. I have also informed them of Sarah Mitchell's message of Sega of Japan leaning to pay the imposter, but Takashi will most certainly step in and avert this mistake from being made. Then hopefully, with their help, I'll be able to claim the copyrights in the UK. Yes, he actually thought Jimmy Hill had the copyrights of Sonichu in the UK, so Chris got the copyrights of Sonichu in the US. Chris Chan has the word Sonichu copyrighted. That should have been mine in the first place. I already had them from Virginia Library of Congress. So yes, that's him confirming that he does have it. By February 2009, Jimmy's site has gone quiet and Chris decided he was no longer a threat. But when amending the Chris Chan ED page, Chris enraged by the idea of Jimmy becoming the mayor of Quickville. So Chris Chan doesn't like Jimmy, he doesn't want to be the mayor of Quickville, and this is Chris Chan actually featuring him in the comics. And now for something completely different. Jimmy Hill's smiling, then he gets shot with a Kamehameha, and then it says Dinsdale, and then he says, "Rough, my reef," and then Bugs Bunny appears and said, "You deserved that, you thieving imposter." Bugs Bunny being totally in character, by the way. Sonichu shaking his fist saying Jimmy for no reason. And then it says, "Jimmy Hill is an imposter and a thief. Do not buy false Sonichu merchandise. Only buy true Sonichu merchandise." So yeah, that was everything I have on Jimmy Hill.
Mr. Jimmy Hill. Mr. Jimmy Hill. As you all may know about him, he has perpetrated the rights of Sonichu for myself. As you all well know, for the longest time now, that I am the original owner and creator of Sonichu and Roastchu. This imposter is blatantly copying everything note for note from me. And it all started, from my point of view, upon my knowledge, the magazine advert for his so-called action figure. I mean, you take a good look at that. Take a look at that. Because all that is just this Sonic the Hedgehog action figure custom painted. I can easily custom paint this to look like that. With acrylic paint even. So simple. And so crappy too. The next thing I should talk about, alright. His website. Y'all know the official and original Sonichu site logo I've had on there for the longest time. But then you compare that to his mockery. Can you believe that? It's crappy. It's stupid. And then look at the original comic cover for my first comic book. Then look at his mockery. So similar. This guy can't even be original, and yet he parodied himself on Monty Python's Flying Circus. And now for something completely different. The DVD. You all see? I told y'all about the footage that was probably up on YouTube between the various things. But this guy, he blatantly copied that as well. And all he did was take every footage that was originated from this DVD, and dubbed his voice just over my name. So instead of me saying Christian Weston Chandler, he just dubbed us over each time by saying Jimmy Hill. And even more, something completely different. It even says on the bottom here, the part of Jimmy Hill is played by an actor. An actor. And look at that freaking cover. It's more based on my original comic cover than the original DVD. Anyway, do not buy from Jimmy Hill. He's a fraud, a phony. Is there anything else I want to talk about him? Oh yeah, and if y'all may well be aware of, these were the first two Sonichu site logos that were originally up there throughout the evolution of the Sonichu site. The original two images. Alright, and now the third and final issue. The internet bullies. You bullies, I know y'all are afraid of me. Because without me, y'all would have nobody to pick on at this point. But you know what? There are so many famous movie stars, so many famous icons, that y'all could just pick on easy enough. But you know what? No matter how many times you direct your influences towards me, I'm just ignoring you. Because basically all you're doing is basically being unheard of. You're basically talking to a brick wall. And I am just blatantly ignoring you hands down. So you may as well just give up. Your opinions and voices are not being heard. You're not scaring me. You're not scaring Blanca. You're scaring nobody, misters. It's time to face facts, misters and misses.
Chris, do what I want, or I'm not going to send Julie over there. How about that? That's a good boy.
No, you sending Julie over here.
No. If you do what I want, there are two things I want. First, this is the easy one. Shout at the top of your lungs, Billy Mays is the new mayor of Quickville. Come on. Do it!
Billy Mays is the new mayor of Quickville.
Louder, you fucking pussy.
Billy Mays is the new mayor of Quickville.
Stop saying it in your fucking dumbass voice, you stupid bitch. I'm not gonna send Julie over there if you use that voice again.
Billy Mays is the new mayor of Quickville.
Yeah, and also say that Kristen Chandler will be thrown in jail. Quickville jail.
And Christian Chandler will be thrown in Quickville jail.
Where he will be raped by a bunch of niggers. Say this one really
He
loud.
will be raped by a bunch of niggos.
No, say niggers, you stupid twat.
Niggers.
Louder.
Niggers.
Louder.
Don't trust them
No.
niggers over there.
No, shut up. You ruined that fucking show.
Now today we're going to be doing yet again another troll video. This is going to be talking about Billy Mays. Now just so you know in advance, I am going to be talking about every single Chris Chan troll, all of the major ones. So if you're waiting for something like the Man in the Pickle Suit or Liquid Chris or D-Stex, I will eventually get to them. I'm trying to get to them as soon as possible. But today we're going to be talking about Billy Mays. Now just so you know in advance, this is Chris Chan's version of Billy Mays, and just like Chris Chan's version of Miyamoto or Jay-Z, this has nothing to do with the real guy. It's just people impersonating him. I hate breaking the fourth wall to talk down to you guys, but unfortunately some younger people do watch these streams and they think, oh my god, was Billy Mays actually involved? And no, he wasn't. But let's just have fun and call him Billy Mays anyway. Billy Mays was born on July 20th, 1958 and died on June 28th, 2009, pretty close to his birthday. He was a TV advertising man turned internet troll. He was a great man and a true patriot, as well as the true and honest mayor of Quickville. Now, for those of you who don't know, the trolls said that Billy Mays was the mayor of Quickville, and Chris Chan actually got Billy Mays to be the stand-in mayor of Quickville while he was trapped in the time void. So that's where the whole Billy Mays is the mayor thing comes from. The trolls wanted to call him mayor, and he was actually kinda mayor in the comics, even if Chris says otherwise now. From the 3rd of March 2009 until his untimely and highly suspicious death, Billy Mays actually died during the troll op with the Billy Mays characters, so being resourceful, they worked that into the plot and tried to say Chris murdered Billy Mays. We'll get to that in a second. Provided both epic lulls and wisdom in the hashtag Sonichu and PVCC during his noble lifetime. He was famous for his signature all caps style. They would type all caps because Billy Mays was known for being very loud. So to imitate him raising his voice, they would type all caps. And I like this photo of Billy Mays they have here. I don't know if I read that quote, so I'm gonna read this quote just in case I didn't. No victory, no defeat. The survivor will carry on the fight. It's our destiny. Billy Mays' final statement to the Quickie. What a proud man. History. His first order of business was adult partying and promised that everyone will go home smoky. He stated that the roads will pour cheap beer and cartons of cigarettes. He said that because Chris Chan hates both drinking and smoking at the time. He considered drinking and smoking to be some of the worst crimes you could commit, and he'd give you the worst punishments that he could think of if you were caught doing either of these in Quickville. Nothing that poor citizens of Quickville deserve a week of drunken stupor. During his short reign as mayor, Billy Mays instituted several groundbreaking reforms and was loved by all, with record-breaking 99% approval rating. Citation needed. I love that it said citation needed, acting like this is real, whatever. Sadly, Quickville's era of prosperity was quicked in after only a few months. Murder. On the 28th of July 2009, Billy Mays was found dead in his mansion in Tampa, where he resided, after suffering several assassination attempts by various hitmen, allegedly under the employment of Kristen Weston Chandler. That true cause of his death is unknown, but his death was suspiciously close to Clyde Cash's apparent death on the 22nd of May 2009. In a captain's log, stardate July 1st, 2009, Chris claims that he didn't kill Billy, but rather that Billy was a victim of a fatal heart attack. In Roland, okay, I actually want to talk about that. Chris did say that he didn't kill Billy Mays and that he was the victim of a heart attack, but then all that did was get the trolls to say that Chris Chan was Kira and that he wrote Billy Mays' name in the notebook, in the death note, so then Billy Mays would die of a heart attack, so then Chris Chan would still be a murderer. The trolls would just fuck with Chris in so many different ways, and he had to say that he didn't have a death note. The 17th of July 2009, Chris talked about the construction of the Billy Mays Tower in Quickville as a memorial to his dead bodyguard. In Sonichu, number 9, Billy Mays fails to free Ivy when she is strangled by an elevator wires. The slickness of the walls keep him from climbing up to save her. However, the walls of text and general bad writing led to some confusion and the belief that he had also died in the comic. In Chris's biography page on the Wikipedia, he lists Billy Mays as a non-canon character, despite his appearance in the central episodes of the comics. So he's saying that Billy Mays didn't appear in the comics, even though Billy Mays did appear in the comics. That makes no fucking sense. Post-death, in his Rollin' and Trollin' video, Chris laments the death of his bodyguard, Billy Mays, and announces the near completion of the Billy Mays Tower. That a skyscraper could have been constructed so quickly after Billy Mays' death is suspicious. We're getting some real 9/11 theories here, and many Quickville residents believe that Chris arranged the building of the tower as a way to launder money stolen from his parents' credit cards. Chris was stealing money from his parents' credit cards. That's a good way to work the real life lore into the fictional lore that the trolls were coming up with, and that the naming of the tower was nothing more than a publicity stunt to leech off of Billy Mays' popularity. So yet again, we see more of the classic PVCC trolling or miscreants trolling, where they would feed into Chris's delusions and work everything into the Chris Chan fictional canon, and that's why a lot of their stuff got to be in the comics, because no one quite like them was able to play into Chris's fantasies to the point to where Chris couldn't even tell what was reality and fiction. Now you could say that the Idea Guy did similar, but when it comes to the Idea Guy, I don't like the way that he did it, and it just isn't as funny as the Miscreants. Now, a lot of the Miscreants aren't really that great now, and most of them are gone completely, but I think the Billy Mays trolling was one of their best ones. And as we can see from this photo right here, this is a message left from Billy Mays' ghost from beyond the grave. It says, CWC did it. And it's an OxyClean, because Billy Mays used to promote OxyClean. So yeah, that was everything you need to know on Billy Mays, or at least the Chris Chan version of Billy Mays.
Captain's log, start date, July 1st, 2009. I am recording this video to relinquish the false stupid rumors of me having anything to do with the recent death of Billy Mays. That's such a slanderous lie. You go, it's because somebody dies, you go blaming the nearest person. You just go blaming the nearest person. It just ticks me off. And anyway, I was actually at my cousin's wedding, Jonathan Carey, in Red Oak, Virginia. You can look him up. I was there the weekend. You can even talk to my Uncle Raymond, who lives nearby. And anyway, the cause of his death, and I read this to you from a printout from his Wikipedia page, and I quote, On June 29th, after an initial autopsy on May's body, Dr. Bernard Adams, the Hillsborough County, Florida medical examiner, stated that he suffered from hypertensive heart disease and that a heart attack was the likely cause of his death. I had nothing to do with it, so quit the false rumors. And anyway, as for the past statement that I did on the video, on the mayorship, Billy Mays, was never the mayor of Quickville. Never the mayor. I was lying out my ass when I said that because I was being blackmailed during the Julie fiasco. Curse that little 13-year-old brat. Depressed. So, there you go. That's it. Alright? And I am thinking more about the comics. I'm drawing more. So, leave me alone. Let me be. I'm trying to find myself, trying to complete my life task as well, especially finding a woman to be my sweetheart. Have a good day. Peace.
Now today we are going to be reading yet again another Chris Chan article, and today we're going to be covering yet again another troll. Now today's troll is the much requested man in the pickle suit. Now just like when I was talking about some of the other trolls, the man in the pickle suit is not just one troll. I know that there is one troll specifically named the man in the pickle suit, but for this article we are going to be talking about multiple people who have taken on this identity as the man in the pickle suit. We start this article off with a quote from Chris Chan saying, "The pickle man tricked me again." The man in the pickle suit, aka the black man in the pickle suit, is the arch nemesis of Chris, whom he used to blame whenever he was tricked or conned. Oddly, even though Chris turns basically everyone that annoys him into a villain in his comics, the man in the pickle suit has been spared. Me personally, I think he was spared because Chris Chan actually feared the man in the pickle suit, unlike most of the other villains he fought in real life. The closest it got was when Clyde fought Chris using a goddamn pickle gun. We talked about Clyde Cash before. If you want to watch that video, go watch it. Clyde Cash actually did fly around with a jetpack and a pickle gun. But unfortunately, I think the only time he used that was in the Ivy comic, if I'm not mistaken, the comics that are really just considered non-canon. So the pickle gun isn't even like a thing that is even in the main Sonichu canon. Chris claims that the man in the pickle suit name may be Harold. And I don't know where he got that his name was Harold. Chris just makes shit up. Someone might have told him. The man in the pickle suit might have told him. Who really fucking knows? Origin. I don't know who that guy is, and I don't think I really would care to know. Chris Chan on the man in the pickle suit during an interview. Lord Silly Nipples is the one true creator of the Pickle Negro, which is the black man in a pickle suit. After posing as Blanca to troll Chris Chan in early August 2008 using a fake MySpace page, he made Chris believe that Blanca was indeed a black transvestite in a pickle suit by suddenly revealing a new version of the MySpace page. Ever since then, Chris feared the Pickleman, the Jew in the pickle suit. This Pickleman, at great personal risk, rescued Emily from the horrific date with Chris IRL. Whilst Emily and Chris were chatting it up and walking around the mall, the man in the pickle suit emerged from the shadows and started flirting with Emily. He ultimately won her over, stealing her from Chris, who stood dumbfounded, unable to cope with the defeat he had just suffered. He also accompanied Robert Simmons V, which is another troll, one that I haven't talked about yet, who's actually an anti-troll, to his visit to Chris Chan's church, disguised as an average civilian, meaning that he just didn't wear the pickle suit, because he is just a normal guy. On the 7th of August 2017, the man in the pickle suit made a shocking return out of nowhere during the last days of the Doopy Do-Over saga. I guess that was that long ago. God, I feel old. He obtained leaked screen caps of the infamous Night Star sock puppet of her supposed private conversations with Chris. Chris had fooled absolutely no one, and only helped confirm the fact that Chris was talking to himself all along. That is so fucking Chris. This proved that the man in the pickle suit might not be the pickle we deserve, but it is definitely the pickle we need. Chris followed the man in the pickle suit on Twitter a week later. This enabled him to give Chris information at MagFest was planning to hold a Chris Chan panel, which, if Chris believed that, of course he believed it. Chris always fucking believes this shit. Sadly, after MagFest, Chris blocked the man in the pickle suit after finally realizing his role in Christery. Wow, it took him that long to realize it. His block message included the phrase, "You are too much trouble." Trouble? I get it. Trollable, because he's a troll and he's troublesome. Ha ha ha. I guess it's just another quickism. For unknown reasons, Chris re-added the man in the pickle suit to his Twitter follow list in 2018. On the 10th of May, in the midst of the temper tantrum, Chris tagged the man in the pickle suit and tweeted, "And you're lucky I even tolerate you. I followed you out of mutual respect." Why? Why did he follow him out of mutual respect? What? I thought he was trouble. Why did you follow him? Chris confuses me constantly. Today, at some point during 2014, the man in the pickle suit allegedly came to ownership of the Quickie. It is rumored that he operates under the name Canine. I'm gonna say Canine. If I'm wrong, you can correct me in the comment section, because you guys always do. We've got some photos of the men in pickle suits. I'm going to show some of these, and then we're going to wrap this up. We see this exposed man in the pickle suit. He has a Sonichu medallion, and he said, "Ha, I tricked that Chandler kid again." So this was during when they were trying to get Chris's medallion. This pickle man is nude, so I'm not showing that because I will get in trouble. YouTube will not appreciate that at all. We have the most classic look for the man in the pickle suit. This is the pic most commonly associated with the man in the pickle suit. We have this funny ass pic of a pickle alien saying that's no suit, Christian. We have what looks like to be a pickle suit that makes you look like a black man. That would probably be worn by quite a few people if it actually existed, but that's just Photoshop. We have this photo here where it says, "You can't fool me. I know your attitude. That you are the pickle man trying to get more crap on me again. Sorry, dude. You may as well tell the truth." I'm pretty sure it's a Chris Chan quote. I don't remember where it came from, but I'm pretty sure that's straight up a Chris Chan quote. And then we have this one making fun of how Chris Chan says that he's of royal descendants, and I'll talk about that in its own dedicated video later. But Chris Chan thinks that he is a descendant of the royal family of England. And so they made this little old tapestry to make fun of that. And it said, "Captain's log, the 1st of March, the year of our Lord 1018. God, I hate this. "The man donning the pickled cucumber suit has outwitted me again. Jeffrey Weston, the feeble-minded." We'll have to talk about Chris's royal background eventually. I want to do a whole video talking about that. This is called the weeaboo version of the man in the pickle suit. Oh, I get why. That should be burned at a stake. And this one is called Who is This Cucumber Man? And I don't know where this is from. I really have no clue. We have this man in a pickle suit, which is more accurate to the actual troll. It's a white guy, but he's got troll ears, so maybe he's supposed to be a troll. We have this pickle suit brutally mutilating children, which I think YouTube would get mad at me for that, so I'm not going to show you that one. Then we have this one with Chris being chased. Oh, he's being arrested by a man in a pickle suit, and it says that jerk-off looks familiar, and that jerk-off is actually the man in the pickle suit. Good for him. Good for him that he's now a cop. We have this very special man in a pickle suit, and as you can see, he has blue arms. The reason why he has blue arms is because he's protesting Sonic Boom. Because Chris Chan, during the whole blue armed fiasco, didn't like Sonic's arms being blue, so they gave the Pickle Man blue arms. How very brave of him.
It's been a long time. Chase. I'll tell you why I'm here. You see, I've had enough. Everyone has had enough. No more of you and your dates and your emails. No more sweetheart searches. No more nothing. I'm here to put a stop to it. You see, your virginity is my business and mine to control, not yours. Allow me to clue you in on a plan I've had for a while now. You see, I went out at night into the streets of Virginia. There, I found every prostitute and hooker I could find. And do you know what I did? I found each and every one of them, and I told them, I have your mugshot. If you see this man, give him nothing. He deserves nothing. You see, I spread these out. They know you before you even approach. So you see, Chris, I have all the cards. And you're just going to have to play with whatever hand I deal to you.
Surf Shack Tito! I know you. You'll get yours in your dreams, your nightmares.
Now today we are covering Surfshack Tito, one of the more infamous trolls in Chris Chan history. Now for those of you guys who don't know, I've been covering all the trolls of the Quickie, and I think that this might be the last one for now, and then I'll switch to a different Chris Chan subject. But if we're gonna end off the trolling thing for the time being, this is a good troll to end it on. We start this off with Chris Chan saying, "Goddamn womanizing, raping, trolling, stupid pickle-suited nigger." That's Chris's opinions on Surfshack Tito, apparently. Surfshack Tito, also known as Dawn, is a mysterious troll first emerged in March 2010, almost a decade ago. His arrival was reminiscent of the rise of Jack Thaddeus in summer 2009. We already covered Jack Thaddeus. If you want to watch that video, go watch it. It's in the playlist. Like Jack, he first made his mark by hacking Chris's PlayStation Network account. The name Surfshack Tito is a reference to a surf shop owner in the Nickelodeon cartoon show named Rocket Power. I actually did watch that growing up, and I think it's funny that this random obscure character from this show is trolling Chris Chan. I find that to be funny. During the exchanges with Chris, most of them from Tito are ended with a Tito-styled word of wisdom. That's something he did on the show. He would sit there and give you like the lesson of the day. It was very common back then because stupid kids shows had to teach kids morals for some reason. Parents were being bitchy about it, but yeah, he decided to teach Chris Chan some lessons, and Chris Chan does need some education, so Tito is a good heart, a gentle soul. The choice to go with the name is most likely inspired by the infamous copy pasta about Tito. Based on Chris Chan's insults towards Tito in the emails and videos, it was assumed that Chris believed that the actual Tito from Rocket Power is trolling him, so Chris Chan just thinks that Tito is a real thing, and that he is in our reality, and that he decided to fuck with Chris Chan for the hell of it. That's Chris Chan's mind. And people say that Chris Chan only just recently became delusional. Chris Chan was always delusional. He's just making it more public now. However, the truth is that the image attached to the emails shows a photoshopped image of the wallflower standing next to a really dark guy. It's funny. The Wallflower is one of the people that Chris Chan wanted to try to get with, for those of you who don't know. I might cover Sweethearts next, who knows. The photo is left out of this article due to an agreement with the Wallflower. Okay, so they removed the photo from this article because the Wallflower is actually cool with these guys, I guess. The Wallflower wasn't really too bad. I guess they're like one of the more nicer of the fake girlfriends. Tito in Chris's videos. Chris first addressed Tito in a video released on the 2nd of March 2010. His comments were brief and cryptic. Chris merely referred to Tito by name, threatened him with doom in his nightmares, because Chris Chan does that. If you fuck with Chris Chan, he will haunt you in your dreams, and he will have the ghost of his past self and his father to torture you, and delivered a curse shot attack. Shortly after, Clyde Cash explained that Tito had hacked Chris's PSN account a few days prior in late February. This revelation was accompanied by another info dump concerning Chris's ongoing downloadable content spending spree. Now, the reason why Chris buys so much DLC on PlayStation is because he wanted PlayStation to win the console war. So he would buy games he never wanted to play, he would buy DLC for games he doesn't have, just to make it look like PlayStation is doing better. A week later, trolls discovered the identity of the Wallflower, throwing Chris into a flailing rage. Initially, Chris seemed to blame Clyde for the breakup of his latest one-sided relationship, but on the 14th of March 2010, he released a video suggesting that he viewed Tito as the culprit. In that clip, he declares, "Tito, listen to me, you son of a bitch. Your days are numbered," threatened involving using a Siligla? What the fuck is that? I don't fucking know. Shiligla. I'll say it like that. Maybe that's correct. I'll get people in the comments section saying, "Oh my god, Dylan, how do you not know how to read this one word that hardly ever pops up in English vocabulary?" But it's worth it. I guess it's Shiligla. And Chris's deadly pocket knife followed. Okay, so I have no idea what the fuck that word was. Tito apparently kept up pressure on Chris throughout the next days of March 2010. On March 18th, Chris released yet another threatening video in which he accused Tito of stealing the Wallflower from him, called him a womanizing rapist and a pickle-suited nigger. Because we just talked about the man in the pickle suit, I'm gonna shill that video too. If you don't know who the man in the pickle suit or the Negro in the pickle suit is, check out that video. It's also in this playlist. And alluded to the emails he had received from Tito. Their contents unspecified, but Chris definitely didn't like them, because Chris Chan's always like that. However, since the end of the Wallflower saga, a very lesser known saga that I don't hear talked about too much, to be honest, Surfshack Tito has slipped from Chris's consciousness and has not made any further appearances in Chris's videos. He is, however, an important figure behind the August 2010 video tapped encounter with Chris at Fashion Square Mall. In August 2011, Chris returned after a hiatus from YouTube to announce that he had received documents which revealed Tito's real identity, referring to him as Don. Just like last time when he tried to dox Jack Thaddeus, I would say that this is probably not his real identity. These are identities probably given to him by the trolls to begin with, so you can call this man Don if you want to, but just know that's most likely not his real name, and Chris is just bullshitting. Chris demanded for a public apology from Tito for hacking his PSN, and $1,000 among other things. So Chris Chan was trying to blackmail this man. That's straight up extortion. Yeah, Tito did some wrong things to you, but you have no right to do that to him. This is just yet again more proof that Chris Chan's a terrible person. And this is a photo of Tito, supposedly in real life, just enjoying his ukulele after successfully trolling Chris. Emails with Chris, and apparently there's a whole article on this that I'll have to read later. During mid-March 2010, Tito exchanged several emails with Chris, baiting him with regard to the revelation of the Wallflower's identity and other subjects. Their conversations revealed that Chris was unaware of his gal pal's interest in gay/fiction and was apparently willing to look past it. The quest for China trumping all other considerations, which really you should have higher standards, but you're Chris Chan, so what do I expect? The emails also feature Chris employing the word nigger, because that's a word he uses a lot, with great enthusiasm. Note the Surfshack Tito is actually Hawaiian, not a niggo. Between late August and early September 2010, Tito resurfaced in Chris's failed plot to scam him and Clyde Cash. Their emails revealed that Chris's intentions behind destroying his PS3 and waiting at the mall. He sought a bounty of $9,000 because Chris Chan's an actual crazy person. Oh, and 1 cent. So I guess Chris Chan's a little generous there, adding that 1 cent towards his PS3 destruction. Chris, if you destroyed your PS3 because you were being trolled to do so, that is on you. Buy yourself a new PS3. No one else should have to. And very poorly attempted to cheat Tito and Clyde out of their money, and I assume that didn't work. Well, that's everything on the Tito article.
Tito, you stay away from Heather, you son of a bitch. You have no right taking her from me like that, you womanizing rapist. And if you go near her again, and I will find you. I will find you. I will cut you up. I'll beat you up. I'll knock you on your backside, stand on your gut like a log roller, and roll your fat right through your skull. Rolling it wide open. Because that's what you deserve, you goddamn womanizing, raping, trolling, stupid, pickle-suited nigger. And don't you dare contact me in my email again, or contact me ever. You stay away from me in contact. Don't call me. I will find you.
Now today we are going to be reading a quickie article. Today we are going to be reading about Panda Halo, which counts as both a sweetheart and a troll. I've got Jill here yet again, and we're going to be reading this. This is a really short article.
Alright. Sometimes I remember her, but I have moved on. And that's Chris. Sensitive as ever, of course.
Casey, that would be horrible for you to ignore someone being raped like that. Chris, yeah, I know, it was hard for me to ignore talking about Panda Halo's rape.
Just like a train wreck. Look at that beautiful photo we have here on the right.
Yeah, that's Panda Halo. I can't read cursive. Can you read that?
Yes, I can actually, even though it's kind of cut off. So on the side, the
it
first
says love you. Okay, yeah, I didn't
love you,
that. Sarah.
Yep. But of course, him being him, he had to sign his whole name into it.
Yeah,
so.
I didn't even notice that. Like, I didn't notice that it was cut off. I thought it was just cursive, and I couldn't understand it.
It was both. It was a trick.
Next book I get out. Oh yeah, that was like when he was saying he was gonna get out of the time void. Like he had to fucking spoil it right then and there.
Yep.
Look at how he draws women's boobs. I'm deeply confused. Like, was he trying to draw them like pecs? Did he not know how to draw tits?
Maybe she was flexing, but I'm looking at her eyes too, cause like, let's be honest, like, I don't know if she's staring directly at me or if she's staring on the sides of my head.
Staring into my soul. It's like one of those fucking Middle Eastern paintings where it's like haunted. And if you have it hung up in your house is gonna burn down. I don't like the look it's giving me. I'm clicking off.
I hate to tell you this, but I don't have a soul, so this is okay.
Sarah Cassandra Cash McKenzie, nicknamed Panda Halo, and Sarah Hart, was Chris's true and honest sweetheart in 2008-2009, making this 10 years old, who lived in southern Australia before her fiery death.
Oh, and now we have the history. But before we go over the history, I know we discussed this before you started recording. Would you like to delve into this wonderful piece of artwork?
Yes. Chris Chan says, "My Casey Panda, I have offered my honor and my feeling and my emotions true only for you." And Chris Chan has a note. And on that note, it's him proclaiming his love to her. And it's written in his own blood.
You know what I noticed, though? So on the next photo, when it's like, you know, it's Sarah, like, responding, I like how he drew, like, direct perspective, like in those VR games that we have now, where it's like his hands reaching out. But look at her. Oh my gosh, it's like her hair. It's this orange meshy kind of.
I think the biggest complaint is we can continue about the hair, but look at her arm. The one that's kind of like curled up. Do you remember like Scary Movie 2 where it's like...
Yes! It's the same thing. She's about to dip it into some gravy, into some pudding.
She's got like a claw. It's not even like a real arm.
Sure. Well, I mean, to be honest, if, you know, Sonichu or Chris Chan were trying to pull the similar stunt, my arm would curl up like that too. And, you know, she replies, "He's such a wonderful boyfriend, but am I willing to go that far for him?" Well, apparently not.
Am I willing to sign a contract with the devil in my own blood?
R.I.P. to this character.
I don't care how hot the girl. I don't care how much I love her. I am not signing shit in my blood. You are crazy.
I don't want to criticize this girl, but if my girl had like this kind of hairdo going on where it looked like she shaved the top of her hair off, you know, kind of did a, you know, how do you describe that? Like the clown you know,
looks like a fucking lion mane.
It's like what Tim Curry's character, you know, the clown had, Pennywise in the movie, basically the same kind of poof.
You can't say Pennywise nowadays. It just makes people get sexually frustrated.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend anyone. Same with the whole Star Wars thing. I'm sorry about that.
What the fuck was Chris doing with his crotch on the Sonic character? Like, what was he doing? Like, what are those lines? What's those lines on his leg too?
His crotch is about to go Super Saiyan. It's about to go to the next level. Or he got some tattoos, which, you know,
it looks like
definitely
he has stretch marks.
Or his crotch is about to have a stroke. I mean, hey, ooh.
How much of this history do you want to read?
I can read the whole history thing. That's fine. Okay. I mean, if you want to read the death and... All right. So, history. During the Blanca saga, Panda Halo continued to send occasional messages to Chris. After Chris realized his mistake in believing Blanca, he decided to declare his true and honest love for Panda on the 24th.
I already talked about Blanca. I'm pretty sure I already did a video on her, so this video fits in perfectly.
He did it on my goddamn birthday. How dare you?
How old were you then?
Shit. I don't even remember.
That's always a fun game I love playing, figuring out how old I was when Chris Chan was in these wacky shenanigans. Mostly I was in like 5th grade.
I was 14. This is really upsetting me now.
Crawling in my skin.
I'm crawling out of this shit. Love for Panda on the 24th of September 2008 through a Sonichu drawing, as we saw up above. Yeah. Beautiful. Panda toyed with Chris for a while, discovering how desperate he was for sex. Panda really pushed the limits of acceptable behavior, and their conversations showed just how gullible Chris can be and still is when China is on the line.
I love his line for vagina. China.
Just China. You know, though, it's a good code name. I mean, if you're going to give code names for things,
it didn't age well, though, because fucking Trump's our president now. And he hates Trump.
But he likes China, hey-oh! A good example is how she verbally abuses Chris while claiming that she's starting to fall in love with Robert Simmons V. Occasionally,
that's the troll who pretends to be like Chris Chan. He's kind of an anti-troll.
The anti-troll. Yes, I do remember this. Occasionally typing extremely obvious and specific insults to Chris.
Like, I think she literally calls him a fat autistic piece of shit at some point.
It is mean, but at the same time, you would think by that...
He just brushes it off, too.
Exactly. You would have thought that he would have been like, you know, I'm just gonna... But no, he easily passes it off.
He never stands up for himself either. It's not like, don't talk to me like that. Don't do that.
You gotta see the end of this sentence, though. This cracks me up. He passed it off as some kind of bizarre form of Tourette syndrome.
It's okay. She's just mentally retarded. Fuck.
She just fucking typed the and yeah, see the exact thing.
That doesn't
to bizarre
work when
sex
it's typing, Chris. That's not how that goes.
This is Chris, though. He's very gullible, as we learn. He oh my gosh, or easily getting Chris to agree to bizarre sex acts, such as convincing him to have sex with a dog for her pleasure.
It had to be a collie, though. To be fair, it had to be a collie.
Like Lassie. like Lassie. I wonder if she had him call out Lassie too during these bizarre sex acts. Say it, Lassie! Oh, there you go.
What is that? Is Timmy in the well?
Oh, Lassie, go find him! And then Lassie never came back. Oh, she managed to obtain the first footage of Chris masturbating, an audio of Chris talking about his sexual opinions.
See, what
of
that
Lassie.
is when you first see the video of Chris Chan talking about this, he's really awkward and shy about it. He's like, the video was leaked about me in a private manner, but now it's just so fucking casual. He's just such a fucking degenerate. It doesn't even affect him.
It's like some of the past videos that we've had where you and I have discussed, like, he went from, like, hero to fucking zero so fast. Well,
Yeah,
I can't
he was
even
like
call
the
it
true and
hero.
honest hero for a bit, but now he's just like a fucking sad former shell of himself.
You know what I watched video-wise of him the other day? Of him pretending to smoke a huge-ass bowl of weed, and it just, it disturbed
Didn't he
me.
actually smoke like a huge ass bowl of weed when he was hanging out with the Troons?
Yes, he
Yeah.
did. Actually, it was them recording him imitating it, though, and him flickering his tongue in and out like a lizard would, just, ugh.
You don't do that. No.
That doesn't moisten a girl. It
I
dries
can't wait
her out.
until we read the Troon article. We'll get to
Oh,
that
I know.
eventually.
We do. Oh, it'll be great. So, eventually, he also sent Panda a PSP.
And
Hey, I want
man,
a fucking PSP.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll be fucking Chris Chan's fake girlfriend. Give
I
me
will-
some consoles. Give me a Switch.
Give me that
Chris.
shit. Damn. That was originally intended for Megan. Ooh.
Oh, repurpose.
Ooh.
It's
She-
he gives you a
Ooh.
ring and it says for Megan. He just scribbled it out.
No,
Here you
I
go.
think that's probably what happened though. Like he probably posted earlier that he was gonna give it to Megan, and then yeah, see, this is how he rolls. It's like the hooker that he had basically. Oh God.
Gives
So
her a
she-
Pez dispenser from a different
Pez,
sweetheart.
Hello Kitty Pez dispenser. Thank you very much. You have to surprise her in style. She purported to be a conservative Catholic, challenging. Oh yeah, because conservative Catholics would want him to have sex with
a
Lassie.
dog. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Never thought that was strange. But then again,
That's,
he did say that one of his characters was Baptist, but yet they lived in a Catholic church with nuns. Well, a Baptist church with nuns, even though it makes no fucking sense.
Were they the nuns from like Monty Python, where basically we're topless? Because if that's the case,
No,
I guess that does
Just
no.
regular
That's
nuns.
depressing. So, oh man, challenging Chris's views on premarital sex. Those damn Catholics ruining everything. He countered that his pastor had said it was permissible, apparently considering the fact that Panda subscribed to a vastly different theology, but completely invalid, of course, and a disturbing act of revenge. Clyde Cash flew to Australia.
That's very
And
practical.
This sounds like a movie scene almost, like not a or maybe an anime kind of
See,
thing.
This
It was
is
like
why I liked old Chris Chan trolling, because wacky shit like that would happen.
this would happen. So apparently he flew to Australia and raped Panda. She fell pregnant with Clyde's child, a fact which didn't appear to faze Chris in the slightest. Now, when they mean phase, they didn't mean like he was like shocked and like
No.
worried. No, he's
No.
just like kind of
He was still concerned with her living with him.
exactly. He probably wanted to adopt the child and make the child Crystal, basically. That whole thing. Oh God. Clyde immediately and generously offered to take care of Panda and their baby in his mansion, whereas Chris subtly pressured Panda into getting an abortion, which that's so messed up.
Yeah.
Yep. As Chris was in the middle of lecturing Clyde about forgiveness, he was in an unusually forgiving mood and actively encouraged Panda to abandon her child to the man who raped her so Panda could live with Chris in his parents' house, because that's how you entice a woman.
I
Come
might
here,
play
lady.
some of that at the end of this, just because of how fucking ridiculous it is.
And that's the thing, like, the people that don't know who Chris is, they think that this is some sort of troll, but in reality, that's just... It's just
Chris
how...
is a genuinely terrible person. Like, if the people he interacted with actually existed and the shit that was going on actually was happening, these people would be in terrible situations due to the way he treats them.
Would make for a pretty good episode of either Jerry Springer or Maury, though, let's be honest.
Chris Chan would make a great anime, but it'll never happen.
That's true. While Clyde offered to house not only Panda and their child, but Chris as well, stipulation was that Chris would have to get a job. Oh boy. And it nixed that idea, of course, because Chris doesn't want to get a job. There was also the issue that Clyde's act of rape had gotten
That'd be a
Panda
weird
addicted to
scenario,
sex.
Though. Imagine that. Like, you're living with the woman, her rapist, and you are also hooking up with her.
Well,
Like,
apparently,
imagine if that was real and he was actually in that situation. Like, how wacky is that? Living with a rapist and the woman he raped?
You know what makes it worse though is apparently Clyde's act of rape had gotten Panda addicted to sex.
Oh yeah.
That's great. Which, as a man who has learned everything he knows about sex from porn, Chris didn't at all question it, and she expressed some interest in regular threesomes with Chris and Clyde. Oh boy. In the end, Panda gave Chris an ultimatum. Talk to Nintendo to make Sonichu reality.
Where
so
did that
Chris...
come from? Where did that come from?
Who thought of this? We need to have a discussion about this, because that's
Like,
genius.
Like, it's the best way to show Chris that no one gives a shit about Sonichu. I'll give him that. But that's just so out of left field. You think the ultimatum would be get a job or lose Panda, but instead it's like talk to Nintendo to get Sonichu official.
Well, to Chris though, I'm sure that this was more of a probability of happening than him actually getting a job, though, to be honest. Like, he probably thought that this would be really easy to have happen. So that Chris could support their future family together, and she would gladly abort Clyde's baby and live with him as his sex-addicted, baby-spewing wife. Oh boy. Failure to do so meant that she would live with Clyde in his mansion and raise their child together. Chris, of course, wouldn't put in the effort to get the only two things he had ever truly cared about, and forfeited Panda to Clyde. Shortly after, however, he learned about the Australian bushfires.
The death. Panda seemingly ceased to exist when Chris failed to meet her ultimatum. And Chris convinced himself that Panda Halo was one of the 173 real people who died in the Black Saturday bushfires of February 2009.
What do you think caused him to think that? You know,
He heard there was a fire in Australia, and he's like, "Oh, she lived in Australia. She's dead. That's why she doesn't want to be with me."
Australia is the size of Rhode Island, basically. It's that frickin' tiny.
His dad literally says this. He doesn't understand countries. He doesn't understand anything that's bigger than his town. He can't grasp it. That's why he says the nation of Quickville. The nation and the city of Quickville. Like, he thinks that there's a nation of Quickville. Quickville exists within it, but then it's still America, too. That doesn't make any sense at all.
But this is Chris Chan, and Chris Chan apparently knows everything.
But whether this is true or not shall remain a mystery forever. Chris's less than stellar knowledge of foreign geography meant the fact that the forest fires occurred about 1,000 kilometers from where Panda lived did little to inform his theory of her demise. In Sonichu 9, the fictional version of Panda Halo met her demise after her building is put ablaze. And it's actually pretty tragic because, like, it says it. She hurls her Pokeballs out the window to save her electric Pokemon. Now, here's the sad thing. They never do anything with Chloe. They never do anything with Chloe, and they never do anything with Blaze Bob. But for those of you guys who've been paying attention to my videos, Chloe would be one of the made-up girlfriends that Chris would say he was with. And he named that made-up girlfriend after that character and after Panda, so it all kind of goes around. Yep. And Blaze Bob Sonichu. After approximately 15 seconds of mourning, Blaze Bob reassures Chloe that they need to move on, mirroring Chris's lack of grief after the real Panda's untimely death.
During that comic, because to be honest, I haven't gone as in depth as you have. Like, How is it like mysteriously put ablaze, or does somebody purposely
It's
put the building
during
ablaze?
the final conflict. You know, it's at the same
Yep.
time where like the 4-cent garbage building is collapsing. Like the whole
Oh,
town's being
yeah.
attacked by like the
Yep.
forces of Mary Lee Walsh.
You know what's funny though? What cracks me up, like you said, they're never brought up again. So thank God these two probably haven't gone through the whole dimensional merge thing. They're probably living out a great life compared to the other characters.
He'll probably bring them back. Like when people start bugging him about them, he'll probably bring them back and make them completely different characters.
Probably.
Rebirth. It only took a year for him to get around to it, but Chris finally obtained some manner of revenge against Clyde Cash for the rape of Panda Halo in a recent YouTube video. Granted, it was a complete fantasy, but then so are all of Chris's victories. On April, very fitting, because April Fools,
April Fools.
2010, an update to the Wikipedia, Chris published a page discussing the women he's known in his life, including Panda. There, he revealed that he no longer believed she was dead. Instead, I recently learned that she was still alive and married to Clyde, someone that actually exists and is also alive, with a healthy child. Even though my memorial dedications were apparently a loss. I wish Sarah and Clyde many happy years in their marriage. I wonder how I'm gonna retcon her to not be dead in the comics. Chris on the Wikipedia. In released emails, Chris wrote that Clyde had told him that Panda had died. What? She died again?
How do you die? Never mind. You know, some things are...
This had been a lie meant to get Chris away from her. Okay, so he faked her death to begin with.
Got
Even
it.
though, like, Chris came to the conclusion that she died on his own originally, but whatever. In return, Chris sought out to give Panda the PSN account that he had made for her and held onto for over a year in exchange for proof of this.
That's... What? Alright, so
And we
here's
got
the
some
deal.
Photos. What the fuck
Yep.
is this?
Here's the deal. I want to barter with you. I'm going to barter with you with your PSN accounts. Now you show me the proof. Okay.
Are these
Oh.
old chats from like a...
Yes, they
ancient
are.
website?
Back from 2008.
Oh god, I hate old internet. I don't want to read this.
Oh, we don't have to. I'm just looking at what it says and basically... Oh, so, of course, Chris here is, like, noted on my being internet famous and mentioned in SonichuNet and listed my phone number and inquisition of just being friend. So oh my gosh, what an idiot. So he calls himself internet famous, basically viewing himself as, like, a celebrity, and everyone's laughing at him about that.
It's weird
So-
to see like the exact time and date like associated. Like it's weird to see that shit because I know like this shit happens on an exact date, but it's weird to know that happened at like an exact time.
Exact time and second and all that. It's weird. What was I doing
it
at
makes
this
it way
point?
Too real.
What was I doing in
And I guess
2008?
This is a troll's depiction of Panda. This is a real photo of Clyde and Panda, not just a random pic off of Google.
I mean, look how happy they are, except for the baby. The baby's like, please get me out of this. Baby,
Oh Lord.
help me now, end it now. I mean, this is pretty convincing,
Who
though.
is this Chad next to them? Like, I never knew Clyde was the man to wear a triangle tie. I respect
mean-
him for it, but I never knew he could pull it off.
Well, I was about to say, that is some pretty suave style that he has going on there with the tie. I mean, look at
this
that.
looks like your classic couple. You never really see too many of these people around anymore.
Well, that's probably why the baby's having a fit. Poor child.
But yeah,
But-
that was Panda Halo.
I find out that there's been some fire going. There's been some brush fire or wildfire, that sort of stuff. Fire going on in the southern Australia area, where my sweetheart Sarah Cassandra McKenzie, Panda Halo, she was in that neck of the woods, and I haven't heard from her in like over 2 weeks. And the fire's been going on for like during the past few weeks, so I pray that she's still alive. I hope she didn't die in the fire. Sarah, if you are hearing this message, please let me know that you're safe in an email or send me a postcard. And also let me know, can I still expect you over at my house, or are you going to go to Clyde? Please let me know, because I miss you. I worry about you. This is a long-distance love dedication to my girlfriend, Julie. Beautiful woman. Beautiful. I love you, Julie, so very much. You strike my thought at every moment, and it makes me ponder with such love and desire. I love you so much. You came from a far distance of the country of Albania. And also, throughout with respect, though I hold on to it with single hand, I respectfully remove for you, Julie, my medal, and I hold it in my hand as I tell the truth in the video here. Oh, fair Julie, I love you so much in my heart.
Now today we're going to be doing yet again another Chris Chan video. This one's not going to be too long, but it is going to be talking about one of the most important girls in Chris Chan's love quest. Now, this girl wasn't actually a girl, spoiler alert. She was a 13-year-old boy pretending to be a girl to trick Chris Chan. Now, today we are going to be talking about Julie. Now, this is part of a bigger article, that being on Blue Spike, someone that I plan on talking about later fully. But for right now, we're just going to cover the Julie stuff to fit with the whole sweethearts that we've been covering for this month. Now, this starts with, I can tell in my heart, Julie is 19. Chris on Julie, and everybody knows how wrong he was because Julie actually turned out to be 13. And then here's the most famous Chris Chan quote, Julie, Julie. That's what he screamed when he was having sex with a blow-up doll. And this is so popular, Chris Chan still references it every 4th of July. I don't know if he'll do it this year, but he did it last year and the year before, so it's possible it'll happen again this year. Julie Milvana, born the 13th of July, 1989, was a Mulvanian Methodist. Now, Mulvania does not exist. She is not a Mulvanian. Mulvania is just a made-up country that Max made up or Blue Spike made up to see if Chris was that stupid. And he was that stupid. He actually fell for it. Even worse is that his dad also fell for it, but his dad was elderly, so at least he has an excuse. She was a Sonichu fan who became Chris's sweetheart after Panda Halo. It's very fitting because me and Jill just talked about Panda Halo the other day. Her being kidnapped by her evil brother Max led to Chris's ill-fated rescue mission to Cleveland. Now, I don't know if that's proper grammar, so I fixed it to make it easier for me to read, but her kidnap just doesn't sound right. Julie first showed up in IRC in December of 2008, suggesting the infamous tour of Chris's house video. Now, Chris ended up doing this tour of his house, and it got him in a lot of trouble with his parents because they thought that they were going to be forced to move out of their house, and they thought their house was going to be condemned because they're hoarders and they have stuff everywhere. So Chris got in a lot of trouble over that, and I'm sure we're going to do a video talking about that eventually. She later posed a ton of Sonichu questions submitted by fans, and was invited to Sonichu Girls. Now, Sonichu Girls was a forum that Chris Chan had where he thought all the female fans of Sonichu were gathering, and he thought that he could get with any of these girls, and tried to get with multiple of them. This just shows that if Chris Chan actually was handsome and people did want him, he would most likely cheat on his girlfriends or just whore around in general. As early as the 3rd of January 2009, she asked Chris what would he do if a jerk kidnapped his heart suite. He said, I would learn his demands, if any, or if he hurt her, I'd strike the jerk back. Chris did not do this when she got kidnapped. Julie also got excited by the prospect of an orgy with Chris and the Sonichu girls. The next day it was revealed that Chris had promised his virginity to both Panda and Julie, showing that he can't be faithful and that if he was to have a woman, he would probably cheat on her. And both ladies were furious, with Julie threatening to kill herself. Ooh, shocking. And I'll play that call if I have it later. I don't know which Julie call I'll play. I'm gonna play at least one of them, maybe one at the beginning too, who knows. Later, she calmed down and moved to Ohio to live with her relatives. What the fuck? Why do you just randomly move to Ohio? I guess, whatever, who fucking cares? Ever classy, Chris suggested a threesome with Panda Halo because he's a fucking pig. Chris refused to drive to Ohio, instead insisting that Julie come to him because he's a fat, lazy fuck that can't even put in the effort to visit these fake e-girls, but later on, he would get tricked to go down there. He had to think the girl was in danger for him to actually get out of the house. And even then, he had to be convinced by the ghost of his dead relatives to get out of the house, because that's how lazy of a person Chris Chan is. He also couldn't be bothered to attack Clyde in IRC, even when he threatened Julie. So even though someone is threatening his supposed e-girl, he couldn't stand up for her, showing that yet again Chris is not a man of his principles and will always go back on the things that he says in confidence. When Chris chose Sarah May over her, Julie was crushed because Chris is an asshole. Chris apologized and then abruptly went back to talking about Vidya. I don't know what the fuck Vidya is. Clyde Cash made more serious threats against Julie, forcing Chris to upload a famous 5 February 2009 video admitting that he was gay. Oh yeah, that's when he said he was a Gabian, and then Clyde said, what the fuck is a Gabian? Say you're gay. Yeah, we already talked about that in the Clyde Cash video. Once Chris got it into his head that Panda Halo had burned to death in a wildfire, which we talked about in our last video, he began to focus even more on Julie as his sweetheart, which is pretty fucked up. The girl that you said you loved burned to death, and then you're immediately moving on without any concern, without any mourning. He just moves straight to next girl, but that's the type of guy Chris is. Chris has received a letter written by Julie, the first physical proof of her existence. In it, it details the love professed by her to Chris. That Valentine's Day, Chris uploaded a little Big Planet level, and Chris and Julie took their relationship to the next level with cyber sex. This kid actually did record Chris's cyber sex. That exists online. Have good luck finding it. I'm not linking it. Bob Chandler walked in because what the people did is Chris was having cyber sex, and the trolls called Chris's dad over and over again, telling him that he was going to kill himself. So then Bob walked in on Chris, and Chris had to make up excuses for it. That also exists. It's pretty funny. If you want to find it, good luck. And the rest is history. Chris's parents didn't believe that Julie was true and honest. In an infamous video on the 20th of February 2009, Chris created a sex video for Julie with the help of his inflatable assistant Kimmy, in order to give Julie an idea of what their first time together would be like. Chris's agonized cries of "Julie" would prove one of the most striking and memorable quickisms to this date, and it's actually quoted by Chris Chan every now and again. Many erroneously believed that Kimmy is Julie, even though she's not. Learn your Christory. This is not so. Chris may be the most desperate man alive, but he is not quite to the point where he's convinced himself of any of his sex dolls are real. Give it about 5 years and we will be at that point, because right now he's convinced himself that invisible people from other dimensions are real. Now, I will cover Max and I will cover Blue Spike later, but for right now all you need to know is Julie is Blue Spike, and he ends up revealing himself to Chris later on, saying that Chris was a pedophile for talking to a 13-year-old, and if you see my "Is Chris a Pedophile" video, I already talked about this. Chris thought she was of age, so technically that doesn't mean he's a pedophile. It's fucked that he was talking to a 13-year-old boy, but he wasn't talking to him under the guise that he was 13. So yeah. And these are the pics that Max sent to Chris telling him that he was a woman. Any normal person would be able to know that these are just some fucking random e-thought from the internet, but Chris is stupid, so he fell for it. But yeah, that was Julie.
Chris,
Yeah, I came back now. I wonder what happened there.
I don't know. But this is. Can you talk with the fans for like 5 minutes, and then I'll tell you, please?
I'm
Actually,
sorry.
no. No, I'm ready to tell you.
Okay.
This whole time, Chris, you've been having sex with a 13-year-old boy, you sick fuck.
What?
Yeah, I'm a 13-year-old boy, Chris, and you've been having sex with me this entire time. I'm gonna give all your fucking data to Chris Hansen, you fucking pedo fork. So you better get the fuck out now before I report you to the fucking feds. Get out.
Now wait a
Alright.
minute. I did not know you were a 13-year-old.
Yes, you did. They're not gonna believe you. They're gonna fucking put you away.
Yo, MC Chris, I'm gonna rap it to you, man. Listen up. I think your video, you's lame as. You done copying this and that. I'm gonna screw you. I'm gonna take you to town. Who do you think you are? Eric Cartman? Screw you guys. I'm going home. You had it all with a sweet little girl, and yet you think you promised. You done turned your back on her and turned to the trolls. You just a dang dummy. If you so chicken, you's a dang coward. If you wanna come find me in person. Come out from behind the camera, you fool. I'll fight you anything. Pow! And I'm gonna just plain kick your ass. From looking at your body, say, you're a total whip and shorter than me. I'm a good 5'10". What are you, like a 4'8"? I'll tell you something right now. That ain't gonna let you laid. Yet you had it once with her and you laid it down. You's a big old dang stupid lame ass clown.
Today we are going to be looking at one of the most popular sweethearts that had like an 8-hour call. It's Casey. This article does have some stuff missing because apparently the internet lumberjack has cut them down. So some
Due
of
to
the
stress,
links won't
so
work. Yeah, it just won't work. But I'll read this first part and then we'll switch off.
alright.
Yes, Casey is one of my gal pals. Nothing major at the time. She already cares for this other dude. I do care about her as a friend, though, smiley face.
Cough, cough, cough.
I am sort of man who keeps his friends close to his heart and cares about them, Chris says, obviously fucking lying.
The most true and honest man on the internet there.
We have a photo of Casey here. Well, on a scale from 1 to 10, what would you give her? Just curious.
A Miss Piggy out of 10.
Oh, I'd give her a fucking a 2 out of 10, and that's being generous.
I'd give her a negative Miss Piggy divided by 2 out of 10.
God. Okay, Casey Yulia Cat Chandler. Nee Devora. Real name, Sienna Duckworth. Sienna Duckworth, that's a cool name.
What
was a troll
is-
who became embroiled in the conflict between her lover, Liquid Chris, who she later married, and Kristen Weston Chandler, Solid Chris. Chris describes her as having a fun, caring, kind personality, like he does with every
He does that with
Every
everyone. Jeez.
fucking
All women are like that.
And since Chris believes all women consist of nothing but these attributes, bar one, Chris never referred to her as intelligent or smart, despite her being a student for both biological and medical sciences. She was really smart. Same thing with Liquid. He was really fucking smart. Yep. Chris tried to lure Casey to his house under the false pretense that he was actually Liquid Chris. That's like setting her up to rape, isn't it? Doesn't that seem like it?
Well, you think Chris can rape someone?
Rape.
Well, what did he think was gonna go on when she arrived there and it wasn't Liquid? What do you think step 2 was gonna be? That's what I'm curious
What do you think he thought? He's an idiot.
Which consisted
Ooh,
of...
you're so much better than Liquid Chris is.
Exactly.
Did he just think that she would have sex with him right then and there?
Yes.
Oh, you know it. Just panties dropping left and right.
That's so dumb. It seems...
Wait, how many panties does she have?
What the hold?
What are you saying Chris is wearing them?
With this, yeah, Chris too. which consisted of numerous extremely poor impersonations of Liquid Chris, which Casey had pretended to be fooled by. I love that shit. I love that he pretended to be Liquid Chris. Liquid Chris pretended to be him, even though he's already pretending to be him to begin with. And then Chris pretended to be him, pretending to be Liquid. Fucking crazy.
It's a good troll. So good.
They had a long series of phone conversations before she cut ties with him due to the father's disapproval, and that was funny because that call, like, she made Liquid pretend to be her father, and Liquid was like a military man in these calls, and he's talking about, I had my friends die in war. It was pretty fucked up. I had to bury them. I had to pick up their casket. And then he's like, when my dog died, I had to pick up her dog house and move it.
Can't you tell that's just as difficult as, picking up your comrade who died in battle?
Casey has a somewhat polarizing reception amongst the Christorians. On one hand, many found her high maintenance and needy attitude rather annoying, but on the other hand, she genuinely cared about Chris and really wanted him to improve, like a lot of the earlier trolls did. His lifestyle and be a healthier person. While she and her dad had a very blunt attitude, Casey frequently told Chris a lot of stuff and advice that he needed to hear. Alas, almost all of it never stuck with him. Not a shock there. A lot of
one thing that did.
I really couldn't tell you. A lot of the events that caused her to eventually drop Chris are entirely blamable on him. And
again, a lot. Name one that wasn't.
I'd have to look over every single bit of that call again to tell you anything that stuck.
I know.
That's a long ass call. Date of birth, June 30th, 1983. She's 35. She's American, female, white.
American female.
Matthew, fucking fake ass father. Okay, that's all you need to know about. Who wants to read background? You?
I'll read the background.
Okay.
So, during the Liquid Chris drama, Chris became resentful that Liquid could have a girlfriend while he couldn't, so he conspired to steal her away in a series of devious phone calls. Just imagine, just like an old Tom and Jerry skit kind of with this, in which he pretended to be Liquid.
Let me ask you, because Chris would take this opportunity. If she thought he was Liquid and she had sex with him, would you consider that rape? Because that's what I meant earlier by the whole rape thing. Like, he'd fool her into having sex with him.
Yeah, I'd consider it that way.
Yeah, that's what I would in that way. I think he would have accepted that. I think he would have.
How the fuck would she manage to do that? Like,
he thinks she's that dumb.
Do some glory hole situation?
He thinks she's that dumb.
It creeps me out because it's just.
If he succeeded and she did have sex with him, thinking that he was Liquid, that seems like rape to me.
I mean, yeah.
Oh gosh.
Well, then again, at that point, she'd be just as stupid as him.
Well, yeah, true.
So I'm not even sure if I could call that rape, because at that point, she only has... Well, she doesn't only, but she has herself to blame in that.
Yeah, but it still seems like rape to me, anyway.
It's creepy, and I'm just happy nobody... Well, other than the hookers, been with him, so... Yeah. Anyways,
I'm not even happy about the hooker. Fuck that shit.
Oh, I know. I can't even say. Trying to seduce her by telling her that he would put his penis. Oh, this is a really seductive. I'm gonna put my penis between your breasts and come all over. Titty witty witty. He also planned to follow this act by licking his comeuppance off of her and recycling it with her. Oh, oof.
You're not supposed to lick your own cum, Chris. That's the woman's job. Don't do that.
Sharing is caring there, Dylan.
That's
Except
gay.
when it comes to this. It's
That's
gay.
fucking gay.
Gay. Disturbing and vaguely homoerotic fantasies aside, Casey pretended to be fooled by his impersonation for a time until she, quote-unquote, realized it was really quick. Yes.
The true CWC.
The impersonation episode was a revealing insight into Chris's mind. Having accused Liquid of being an imposter, then he becomes an imposter himself. dun dun dun, in a desperate attempt to seduce Liquid's girlfriend. As one would expect, Chris did an absolutely terrible impersonation of Liquid. I know, it's so funny, even though he was impersonating someone impersonating himself. And indeed was such a dunce that not only did Casey frequently have to correct his impersonation, while pretending to be fooled by it. That's what cracks me up even better. It's like, oh god, that's so stupid. But Chris continued to believe that she was fooled by him while she was correcting him. Oh yeah, that's not what you would say if you were Liquid. Oh, here, let me change it. Oh yeah, you're definitely Liquid Chris.
He's so gullible.
I know. As if Chris couldn't get any stupider, Casey often, understandably, forgot to pretend to be fooled by his piss-poor impersonation, and Chris still didn't suspect the thing. It's true.
Him while he thought he
so
was being
badly. Oh my god. His by proxy narcissism also reared its head numerous times and ended up defending solid Chris's clothing, weight, and even his haircut. As revealed by Chris in the video, greetings to Casey's folks. Casey's parents are Mr. and Mrs. D. Casey was the middle child of her parents, a military couple. Her father, aka Solid Chris in disguise, is retired military. Her mother works in government affairs. She has an older brother, Kale, also military, and a younger sister, Kara, who was a freshman in college.
KKK.
Yeah, the true. Casey was rumored to be attending university in Washington, D.C., living nearby in an apartment with male roommates. Her family lived in the suburbs of Virginia. She majored in nursing biology. The more you know. You want to read this, True?
Yeah, sure. No one else wants me to, but I will anyway.
And then I'll
with...
I'll do Love Quest after you read Contact.
Okay.
Sounds good. Contact with Chris. On 3 August 2009... I'm just reading it that way for some stupid reason.
I hate how they structure this. I think it's like
they just randomly switched it.
I know some countries.
Some
countries structure it like this.
Yeah,
but still weird.
I'll read how it's supposed to be. On the 3rd of August 2009, Chris sent Casey from Quick. On the 4th of August 2009, Chris created Quick hand-drawn original to reveal his true fat self. Casey claimed to have been very hurt by the fact that Chris tried to trick her to going into his house. Ugh. What he was planning to do if she did show up on his door is anyone's
That's
guess.
what I was saying. I'm like, what was he gonna do?
I know, it's so creepy. It's so creepy.
Yeah. In all likelihood, he expected her to actually dump her longtime boyfriend for him once he proved he is the one, true, and honest creator of Sonichu and Rosachu. That or he'd put on a brown shirt and a paper medallion and hope she'd never notice the difference while he ate his own navy off of her. On a few occasions, both Casey and Chris have mentioned a meeting which took place between them. Casey seems to maintain that Chris was disrespectful and perverted during this meeting. Yeah, that's a big fucking surprise. Her account is believable to say the least.
The Love Quest. Once Liquid Chris returned, details of contact between Chris and Casey began to emerge. In Chris's dressing Liquid video, he suggested that Casey had become a close gal pal and implies that he still pines for her. Chris would later officially proclaim his love for her in the creatively titled video, I Love You, Casey, where he states that Casey and himself have been in frequent contact with each other during the period in which the Liquid disappeared.
The power went out. No.
Which they had, except that Chris was pretending to be Liquid, and Casey was pretending to be fooled by it. In 102520009 for Casey, Chris graduated to an official love quest in his desperate attempt to steal Casey from her future husband.
Oh my gosh.
The delusion would grow further in For Chris number 2, where Chris implies that he genuinely thinks Casey is leaving Liquid for him. Casey would later state outright that she only ever considered herself and Chris as friends. However, Chris being himself, he began to think that she was really in love with him, despite literally no evidence. And she went so far to make a video of him gloating to Liquid that he had won her heart. Having decided to enter a relationship with Chris, Casey uploaded an audio of herself singing the female part of A Whole New World, a romantic duet from a popular Disney movie Aladdin on to YouTube. The description of the section is ambiguously sought for Chris to sing the male part in a duet with the audio. Naturally, this accumulated in the video showing a true rage of Chris,
Sinatra-esque
quo tones.
Yep.
This cemented their status as boyfriend and girl fanning romantic interest for amusement of thousands of people online.
The end of Casey. Chris and Casey's Harlequin romance continued for a while afterward until Chris got into an argument with Casey's father. It's that phone call, man. After
That's
attempting to prove his
phone call.
I know it is.
Wasn't it like
It
4
is.
hours?
Yeah.
It's
fucking
to prove his
ridiculous.
worthiness as a man. In the process, Casey saw how utterly messed up he was, mentally and physically, and returned to Liquid's waiting arms. Oh, poor Chris. Chris's chances were utterly dashed after he got a hold of his comic to her and learned that he was willing to go and shoot Liquid Chris. Horrified, Casey scorned Chris for his actions in a final phone call to him, never to speak to him again.
Wait.
Chris would later-
Shoot him? What the fuck is that all about?
Chris drew in the comic where he confronts
Comic.
Liquid Chris and he shoots him in the knee.
Yep.
He shoots
Never
him
to
in the knee with a gun.
I know. For the reading stuff, we haven't made it that far yet, but
No, we-
that's.
I don't
no.
think that makes it into the official comic. I think that makes it into one of the specials.
It might have been.
Oh yeah, that's special, all right.
But I think the specials are included in the web archive, so we'll be reading that too.
At some point, yep. Oh boy. Chris would later upload a video where his solemnity was clear. This abyssal depression lasted for about a day, of course. Just a day, you know.
That's how long
With
it
the
takes
rele-
them to get over anything.
I know.
But everyone's
With the
always so
rele-
upset. They're like, "You're bullying Chris. He's gonna be so hurt.
You're
What if
bullying,
Chris
he's
sees
gonna
this?
be
He'll
so-
get over
not
it in
really.
like a day."
He'll go and play with his Legos and all
Be
that
fine
wonderful
with
stuff
it.
in a day. Yep. With the release of the actual final phone call between Casey and Chris, Casey reveals just how well she knows Chris, predicting that he'll have forgotten about her before long, which is true. While Chris did release the melodramatic monologue "Quick is Sad" in a video he made the next day, Chris is smiling from ear to ear. Yep, the very next day. Casey was righter than she could have ever known.
He moves on to e-girls like fucking
I
nothing.
know. I know.
Liquid Chris and Casey were married on the 11th of November, 2009, at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Well, that's oddly specific. It was a very small wedding ceremony with their families and a few select friends. Chris tried his best to ruin the honeymoon via receiving copyright papers, which, as you probably guessed, failed miserably. Wait, what's that about? Receiving copyright papers?
Let me see what that says. Let me see what he was trying to do here. I want to know what he was trying. Red
I gotta
letter
see this.
CWC certified day is a video uploaded in which Chris proudly displays a certificate of registration.
Oh
in Sonnet
no.
which he received. So he was trying to sue him for the name Sonichu. Is that what he was trying to do?
Yeah.
He had that.
Even if he could.
He had that to prove that he was the real Chris Chan.
Real Chris.
It says right
Chan.
here.
God damn.
The certificate.
Wait, he
was
thought that he
proof
was still
he
using-
is the real Chris Chan.
Wait,
Yep.
so he thought that they were still using his name when they got married.
Yeah, he after he wanted. Okay, yeah. So yeah, he got this to prove that he was the real Chris Chan.
That is so freaking ridiculous. God damn
I
it,
shouldn't be
Chris.
speechless, but like
I know.
I keep overestimating him for some reason.
Well, he legally owns Sonichu. Like, he can't do anything with the image of Sonichu because it's just two copyrighted things mixed into one. But he owns the
One.
name Sonichu.
Named Sonichu. Yep.
At least in the
I
US.
know, but it's just like I don't know. It's so weird with Chris because
He got
I know.
this. He got this on like September 18th. So do you think he filed this on September 11th? And it
Oh,
took
shit.
them.
Do you
It
think?
took them 7 days to get it filed, and he got it on
Oh,
the 18th.
no.
So on the anniversary of 9/11, he's up there,
9/11.
I'm gonna get Sonichu. Yeah.
Little is known of Casey at this point, despite Liquid resurfacing to help heighten the success of Asperchu.
All hail Asperchu. God damn it.
And it never got concluded. So that was Casey. Casey is one of the... she's not really too liked in the Love Quest stuff, but I like the Casey stuff personally. I like the phone call between Chris and her father, and I really like Liquid Chris Saga in general.
Well, Casey, I just let you know, because you hung up when I was trying to say it. I'm sorry for hurting you and mistreating you. With some lies, mixed it with honest truth. But, you know, that's fine. If you feel like your Chris will make you happy, that's fine. Congratulations on your wedding. I wish you and Chris all happiness in the world. I'll say a prayer for you for the wedding, a safe honeymoon. At least I care about you, Casey. You mean a lot to me. For more than just a friend. You're very right to be happy. Guess so. See you around.
And today we are going to be doing yet again another quickie reading. Today's quickie reading is going to be yet again another person to put in the Trolls videos. So if you guys haven't seen the other Trolls videos, there'll be a playlist at the end. Go and check those out. Today we are talking about Daniel Mims. For the week, my family and I were pondering the major suspect, the dude who took that pic, which I distinctly remember seeing the camera flash while I was playing a Young Gentleman in Pokemon trading card game. Thus, my family came in and we found that Mims had the camera in question, but he did not take the picture. And we can see the picture right here that was taken of Chris. It's pretty blurry, but you can see the tins of Pokemon cards. And then we see an artist impression of Mims. And then we have an actual photo of Mims, which he looks exactly what I would expect him to look like. He's got a gaming shirt on. He's reading a manga, a JoJo manga to be exact. So there's your JoJo reference for the day. And he's an actual neckbeard, but at least he's got a cool afro. And then we see events, early days. Mims hung out at the game place and sometimes played Chris in card games, most notably making Chris cry after beating him in one turn in a Yu-Gi-Oh battle, which is sad, but that's not really too terrible if you actually know anything about Yu-Gi-Oh. There's a lot of decks that are built to where they can beat people in one turn, and it has nothing to do with skill. But I'm sure Chris lost because he fucking sucked. Troll involvement. When a photo of the original creator of Sonichu was uploaded to 4chan/ED in late 2007, Chris suspected Mims and brought his parents into the store for interrogation. In the private villa of corrupted citizens, Mims admitted that he did take the picture, so Chris was right all along. Chris seemed upset to have been betrayed by his gameplay's Joy Boys. Oh, Joy Boys, that's the worst name for a straight guy to give his friends, but whatever. Describing learning two of the trolls were old Pokemon TCG comrades in the same league that I used to go to, had part in the creation of that damn ED page as one of the 10 worst things that happened to him in his life. Wow, that's one of the worst things that ever happened to him. It wouldn't even been that bad if he didn't keep interacting with it. On August the 3rd of 2009, Chris apologized for getting his parents to confront Mims and said, "If you will let me know what I have done wrong onto you." Wow, how fancy of you, Chris. You sound really smart wording yourself like that. "To cause you grief, I will be happy to listen and fully comprehend." That doesn't make any sense to me. In May 2012, Chris publicly provided a link to Mims' Facebook account, for some reason believing the trolls would harass him instead of Chris. Yet again, Chris doing something as terrible as the trolls have done to him, but yet no one really gives him shit about it. So for you guys who defend Chris and White Knight him, just know if Chris was able to fuck with you guys, he would. If people actually liked him, he would equally be a troll. So, yeah, just Just letting you know, that's the shit that he would do. Daniel Mims knows a lot about me. I have divulged a number of juicy stories with him during our card games. Do not believe his denial of any knowledge or association with me. See, this is why people don't want to be friends with you, Chris, because you do this shit when you are spiteful towards them. Lending further lunacy to his announcement is in fact that Mims never denied knowing Chris or had any reason to. He had actually been talking to trolls behind the scenes. And I think this is a drawing that Chris gave to him, because that looks like something Chris would draw. And it says Mimbo Boruto. I don't fucking get it. It's Naruto Pony, apparently. That's one of the worst things I've seen today. You may simply call him Mimbo. He has a bunch of quirky times and lines, whatever, even while he's fighting his battles. Ooh, fucking Deadpool knockoff. Mimbo will announce his traps and tricks with gusto as he activates not them, but he sighs a lot. It's obvious he has had his share of stress, yet he laughs it off later. So Chris made him a pony OC, apparently. And that was Mimbo. He was one of the earliest Chris Chan trolls, one of the people that led to Chris Chan actually being, like, acknowledged by ED. He gave them one of the first Chris Chan photographs.